I am Batman!
Dark Knight, wait a minute, that means Batman. Ooh, I'm a hit my battery. Oh, it got me. And now, your dynamic dimwits, Brayton Conroy and Raf Shoma.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a very special episode of Night Owling. And, ladies and gentlemen, I'm happy to introduce you to my co-host. Will you introduce yourself, please?
Dirty McCorruption, I'm taking you to Clown Town.
Oh, no, hold on, let me get him. Hey, Dirty, what is it?
Where is he? Where is he?
He's in the bathroom. Hold on. No, I'm waiting for somebody to get out of there. I think it's Invisible Man. What's up? Hello there. Oh no, it's you. What do you want from me?
It's time to put you away.
You ain't gonna get me, Batman, because I have an escape plan that even you can't defeat. It's called death. And he jumps out the window.
Who wants a penny?
He's gone. He's dead.
Oh, okay. I was gonna kind of keep going with that bit, but
yeah.
it's come to a shocking and sudden, sad conclusion. Hey, who's this freak jumped out the window here trying to steal my act? I have bribe sandwiches, but they're filled with Bitcoin. It's totally non-sustainable.
Is this Bullock talking about his Bitcoin operation again?
Yeah, it's Bullock being far behind the times and not up to date on his cryptocurrency.
Right. Okay.
Neither am I, by the way. I mean, I think someone should crack down on that.
No, yeah, definitely. So, anyways, I think it's kind of slowly killing itself, surely but surely. Anyways, slowly but surely.
Can I interest you in some non-fungible? What are the NFTs? Non-fungible teas.
No, I don't want
Batman, no, you're selling out before our eyes.
Yeah, why would you do that, man? I thought you were Batman, not Con, man. Did somebody call me? You're dead. Oh, yeah. Thump dead. The man who killed Detective Dirty McCorruption.
I didn't do anything. He jumped out the window, Mr.
That's what
Thorne.
you say, Sid. And now you thinking you're gonna get bump off me, huh? I'm Rupert Thorne.
Oh, my seat's wet.
Well, what,
Good
you can
job,
just dump Dirty
Sid.
Just dump Dirty McCorruption in the Lazarus pit.
Okay. God, I gotta work on a David Warner impression. But anyways, so obviously, ladies and gentlemen, we're just gonna be talking about Batman the Animated Series. This whole thing about us doing terrible voice sketches will not be happening throughout the night, hopefully.
No.
So yeah, so sorry if you came here expecting me to share my thoughts on Gamera's miraculous return. But no, we're here to celebrate the man, the legend himself, Kevin Conroy, who of course voiced Batman in Batman the Animated Series. And
For 30 years and always maintained his relevancy.
yes, definitely, and beloved by many people, even those outside the comic book community. But more to the point, we were doing so the origins for this particular conversation, and a quick hello to JF, Goji Shea, Space Ogre, good to see you again, sir. Doomzilla, yo.
Good evening, Space Ogre.
Yeah,
A fellow man from space.
from space.
Who also looks like Batman. I mean, you know, I saw a meme long ago of Space Ghost getting his hair, or Batman getting his hair cut, and it turns out if you clip the ears right off, it's just Space Ghost.
Oh my goodness.
We've been lied to this whole time.
Well, I think that was one of the big inspirations for the design was the Alex Toth method of doing superheroes. We'll get into that in a moment. So the origins of this particular conversation we're going to have tonight happened last week.
A bat flew in our window.
Yeah, we were thinking about how to avenge our parents. Ladies and gentlemen, me and Brayton are actually related. We're twin brothers. Something happened on his end.
Yeah, I'm the black sheep.
Yeah. It's like, what's the opposite of you let yourself go? Well, whatever that is, it was on Brayton. So.
I let myself glow.
Oh, cute. Okay, so you and your vocabulary and quick wit. So wait till you reach my age, buddies. Anyways,
I just said glow. I'm a
okay.
gorgeous lady of wrestling, Raf.
All
What can I
right.
tell you?
But anyways, we were doing an episode. We did the last episode of the movie Graveyard Shift we did based on Out of the Past, which is currently available on my Twitch channel for viewing if you want to check it out before it's gone Monday morning. And there is links in the description for this very video right here. We were actually we took like 20 minutes talking about Kevin Conroy and what the Batman the Animated Series meant for us, and that little preamble was enough to inspire tonight's conversation because we have a lot to say about the series. It's a lot of reminiscing, but if you guys want to share your various thoughts on Batman the Animated Series, we'll read them throughout the night. I will read this one from Space Ogre. Batman TAS was such a big part of my childhood, and hearing that he died hit me hard. Indeed. It's like, now, Brayton, it would be not too unfair to say that, unlike a lot of people who are very upset about Kevin Conroy, we didn't know the man that well. But
yeah, which is unfortunate with a lot of voice actor, or maybe fortunate for them, they're out of the public, paparazzi limelight of constant observation and having drones flown around their homes.
Yeah, and I think that's probably also one of the main appeals for being a voice actor. You don't have to worry about the baggage of being in the public eye, especially because I don't think I've ever heard any terrifying horror stories of a voice actor going off the deep end on Twitter. So anime voice actors, on the other hand,
Oh,
those guys
that's
are
a whole nother world.
Yeah, that's a whole nother world of non-union horrors, but we won't get into that. But yeah, so the thing was, after having that kind of wonderful little 20-minute discussion about Batman the Animated Series on last week's episode of the movie
Graveyard Shift.
Yes, which I'll probably isolate as its own little video in the future. We decided to do this because we actually, despite the incredible age differences, I'm from the prehistoric era, you're from the Bronze era. I was eating trilobites while you were discovering the secrets of fire, boy.
I thought I was getting grapes dropped into my mouth by people fanning me.
Oh yeah, that's right. That would be the Bronze Age. Okay, we can do that.
Okay.
All right. So behold.
I just know I was covered in a lot of bronzer.
You were there with Maxie Bruce. Okay. That was a sex joke there. Okay, never mind.
No, it's bronzer, the stuff that bodybuilders put on, or maybe I'm thinking just Vaseline.
Okay, so it's not a sex joke.
I'm constantly covered in Vaseline, Raf. That's all I'm trying to tell you.
Okay. Apologies to any children listening in the future. So.
Well, much like Batman the Animated Series, we appeal to children and adults.
So yes, it's an appeal, a small appeal. So.
Unappeal.
Yeah. Unappealing.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyways, so yeah, that's what we're gonna do tonight, and I also have to, I'm gonna have to thank, believe it or not, the Batman on Channel Awesome, that series of videos, because it was a good refresher course about all the various episodes.
Wait a minute. Batman is on Channel Awesome. The world is a nightmare.
Yes. No. It's not Doug Walker, but there's somebody who works on Channel Awesome who does Batman, which is a month-long series of videos dedicated to the various episodes of Batman Animated Series. And they're actually pretty decent videos, and they were
they do a Twilight Zone thing in October too, and I see that pop up throughout October, and I'm like, don't try and tempt me with quality Channel Awesome.
Yeah,
I'm not accepting your cyanide-filled candy trick-or-treat bags.
Yeah, but no, I want to give credit where credit's due, because without that series, I wouldn't have been able to kind of speed run through the entire series. Although today I did take some time to actually watch some of my favorite episodes, as well as some episodes you like. But we have a lot to discuss about, and we're going to try and do it in a 2-hour frame. So enough preamble. Brayton, do you want me to start, or you start with our kind of introduction to Batman the Animated Series? How our various childhoods were kind of molded by it, so to speak.
Well, I'll just say because it was from such a young age, I can't remember my introduction to Batman the Animated Series because it's always felt like a constant in my life. Being a young Batman fan, I know I would watch and rewind on repeat 24/7 the Tim Burton Batman movie,
Mm-hmm.
and like we would have see reruns of the Adam West Show, and then this. Those were like my three interpretations of Batman, because I didn't really read any comic books when I was little, and that came in my young adolescence.
Mm-hmm. And probably
like
a
in my
good thing too,
teenage years.
because the late '90s, early 2000s was still recovering from the crap that was '90s comics. So,
Okay. Even picture books were too complicated for me at a young age. That was my excuse. So didn't read comic books really at all until I got older,
mhm.
like into middle school and in my early teens. But anyway, as a little kid, yeah, it was just one of my favorite shows from such a young age. I honestly can't tell you my introduction to it. Just either seeing various things in the DC universe, though, like I would see on Fox, right? It was on Fox Kids, Fox. That was
Yeah, but I think
where this would air.
they eventually moved it. Oh, hold on for a second. You go ahead and check out the audience. So,
Oh, okay.
okay.
I'm checking out the audience, and they're looking good. But yeah, when it came to me, I was more first exposed to things all in the DC animated universe, like whether it be episodes of Batman the original, the animated series, or Batman Beyond, or some of this very little of the Superman show. Uh, yeah, I can't really pinpoint exactly what I started watching first, but I was really enamored with it, and I think that's what's so lasting and enduring about it, and why it's still very popular with young kids today even. It appeals to both children and adults, and people sort of have a misinterpretation, I think, of how dark the show really is, because in the between the darkness and really serious, sophisticated storytelling, it's a pretty lighthearted show at points. Batman smiles constantly during at least the early
Mm-hmm.
seasons.
Yeah, I'm guessing you're revisiting some of the points we discussed on the damn it movie graveyard shift.
Movie graveyard shifts. Yes, I'm just trying to get across why it appealed to me at such a young
Uh-huh.
age, because those were my three favorite versions of the character, and they're all sort of different. Obviously Adam West is the extreme of goofiness, and Tim Burton's Batman is sort of the other end of things. And this one I think is really in a really good spot in the middle for me, because yeah, it is a lighthearted show at points in between the art deco noir setting of the show.
Mm-hmm.
It can appeal to kids of any age, and it has a timeless quality about it.
Yeah, other than technically the fourth season of the show, so to speak. Yeah, it is incredibly.
When you say the fourth season, you're talking about when it rebranded or when it revamped its look,
Yeah, it has.
and everybody became, as I said on the movie Graveyard Shift, everyone turned into trapezoids for the most part.
Yeah, that unfortunately that fourth season has two titles. Some people refer to it as Gotham Knights, other people refer it to the New Adventures. I'm just going to refer to the WB reboot just to make it simpler, because when Batman the
Because
Animated
prior to that, Batman became the Adventures of Batman and Robin, right? There was a short time where it went by that name.
Yeah, and there's a kind of a sad story behind that. But no, for the most part, if I'm talking about Batman the Animated Series, I'm talking about those first 85 episodes. I don't know, roughly 85 episodes or 70 episodes that were done for the first three seasons. And then when I talk about the WB reboot, that's when we get into the Gotham Knights bullshit or nonsense or whatever. I'm not a big fan of it, but we'll go into detail later.
Okay.
But yeah, no, it's funny. I was watching a bunch of those old episodes from the great first 65 episodes, so to speak. And yeah, you're right. It has a ridiculously great timeless feel to it. Even when it's one of those things where, because it's a semi-period piece in its own strange world.
But with like futuristic technology where it's sort of out of time.
Yeah.
I was watching a documentary on Warner Brothers on Warner Brothers YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, the style of the city in Gotham itself is as if it never stopped being the 1940s,
Mm-hmm.
but technology itself evolved. So you could do these sort of, you could have lasers and whatever you want, lasers and sharks with lasers on their heads. But it being not set in the 90s, and that's kind of what my problem was with Batman Beyond, is it feels really dated to me at this point, because it's like that cool late 90s futuristic type of thing. And that feels a little more difficult to look back on.
Yeah, I can kind of buy Batman Beyond being its own little future thing because again, it's its own little world. But
Yeah,
it's
but when
like
you have all these women around with midriff and everything, and it's
okay,
the whole angst bit of it.
yeah, well here's the thing though, the WB reboot, I think that's where they made that particular version of Batman animated series way so contemporary that it's outdated itself, especially with some of the episodes dealing with current trends or technologies. It's like the Firefly episode with the music singer. It's like, oh god, that wouldn't even fly today with Lady Gaga. So.
Did Milli Vanilli ever do a guest spot? That would be dated.
No, I think no, they didn't. So, but oddly enough, yeah, that's another thing about this series, the amazing cast they were able to get, even with just like guest actors, and that's a big credit to Andrea Romano, who was the voice acting director. Yeah, the voice director on this whole show.
Up until recently, she was had a lot of longevity too, right? Through all the DC projects.
Yeah, exactly. And she was also a big help on Avatar: The Last Airbender, and I think Korra, its follow-up series. And she was really good at finding like the best actors for all these various roles. Maybe a little too good, because it's like even some of like the minor guest characters, like what is it? Ernie Hudson voiced a security guard in the episode Joker's Wild. It's
yeah,
like,
well, very few of the actors were voice actors specifically, right? They all either came from the theater, like in Kevin Conroy's case, coming from Juilliard and being a Broadway and New York trained actor in the theater.
Yeah.
And even like Paul Williams and Efren Zimbalist Jr. was an actor.
Yeah, exactly.
In movies.
Yeah, and I think like you said in that documentary, they do bring up, and in various interviews, they do bring up the point that they were casting us like it was an old radio show, or they were casting us like an actual theatrical play, as opposed to just a regular cartoon show, which is interesting because, yeah, there were some longtime voice actors who would come in and do a couple of voices, like the actress who plays Poison Ivy. I forget her name at the moment, but it's funny to think she's the same voice actress who did the girl Smurf on the Smurfs.
Oh.
Yeah, so but no, it's like for the most part, yeah, they brought in all these really good actors that you would not expect, and it actually worked for the most part, I think. It's like, I think
it's a great ensemble.
Yeah, the only problem is when you put in like a voice actor and pair him up with not a very good character, but that's a relatively minor thing to worry about, though.
Yeah.
So, and like one particular Charles Dickens
Sir,
ripoff.
Ladies and gentlemen, Sir John Gielgud as Thug Number 2.
I was thinking
Helen Mirren steps in as bank teller.
Yeah. Yeah,
that never happened, but I mean.
Yeah, again, Ernie Hudson playing a security guard for one scene. So.
Well, he was there, Raf. He was there.
Yeah, that is true. So, okay. And guys, you definitely have way too many things for us to read, but I see S452 has joined us. While I never grew up on the Batman the Animated Series, I never saw it on Cartoon Network. I only saw it months ago on HBO Max. I will always respect Kevin Conroy's acting in Justice League shows and the Arkham games. And Goji Shea has joined us. I mainly saw it when it transferred over to Cartoon Network. Yeah, I forgot. When it went to Cartoon Network, I think they actually edited some of the more extreme sequences out, because I think Cartoon Network had different standards than Fox Kids. And that's another thing. Like, something I mentioned last time, like, it was a show made in the right time and the right place. It's a situation similar to the original Ghostbusters, where you had the right people behind the scenes, the right people in front of the camera, the right creative minds, and the right circumstances that made the show so damn good. Like, for example,
it was a real lightning in a bottle type show. That even, and coming into recent projects, it kind of goes to show that it was the creation of a group, because when you take some of those pieces out and it's just one or two of the people, like Bruce Timm on his own doing something, or I know Paul Dini did some great work with the Arkham games and what have you, but it's not at the same level. You kind of just have to, it's that whole brain trust of really creative and really talented people working on it in a daily grind.
Yeah, and I was laughing because at this point we all know what it's like. We like Bruce Timm, but
I love Bruce Timm, but he stopped taking his crazy pills or something.
Do you fear he's going to end up like who was that crazy guy who created not the Killing Joke, the Dark Knight Returns?
Frank
Frank
Miller.
Miller.
I
Yeah,
don't think he's that bad. I, don't think
I
he's
know.
that
Yeah, but no,
But-
it's like we've seen what happens when you put Bruce Timm by himself. It's like you think I'm bad when I'm left to my own devices. Oh my god.
Yeah, you know what? But this is all I'll say about it. I'll be very controversial and say I think Frank Miller had the benefit of hitting a really good fluke, and that's all I'll say about that. Even some of his other very highly regarded comic books, I think it's like, the case of a broken clock being right twice a day, where, hey, Batman: The Dark Knight Returns is pretty good. Outside of that, he's sort of a crazy conservative shouting in a cave.
Yeah, and sometimes you can't go back home, as was the case with Batman and Harley, that straight-to-video movie that was just. Bleh.
Right, which looks like it's really upsetting because it's like a really well done and accurate Wood Rocket production or something where it looks just like it should, but beneath the surface, bubbling underneath.
Yeah, I think oh my god, it's like the fact that this show appealed to children and adults, that it's like that's a rare
and
thing.
Childish adults like you and me.
Yes. Oh no, we're better. I've seen childish adults. I'll like I said, after we're done talking here, I'll share some horror stories from the anti-Kong side of of the fandom. But no, it's so rare to find that perfect mix that would appeal to kids and adults. And back then, I did remember, at least for a brief time, there was a lot of adult people I knew, including who were both comic book fans that we knew through the comic shop, and also even my own parents and like neighbors who were not comic book people but were aware of these characters. They were generally excited for this show when it first aired, and I think for like a good first 6 months, this show really was a phenomenon. Nothing compared to like the insanity with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or Pokemon or Power Rangers, but it definitely made a huge impact, and I think it more so than say more adult animated fare that would come in the wake of this series. I think this one really showed like, oh, you can do a lot more with daytime television animated series than just, the Smurfs or Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, and on all fronts too. We'll get to the storytelling aspects of it, but just look at a frame from Batman the Animated Series and then look at anything else, any of the other cartoons, geared for children that were on at that same time. It's remarkable at a completely another level.
Oh yeah.
You compare that with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and oh my god, it looks like a Filmation cartoon. It's no good.
Yeah, and okay, that's a funny. Now that you mention it, that's a funny thing because those first like 5 episodes of Ninja Turtles was actually extremely well animated, but obviously they cheaped out as the series went along, and it didn't help that I know there's a lot of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle fans out there. I know the series has a strong place in everyone's heart, but it's revisiting it recently. Yeah, it does not hold up at all. The stories and the terrible animation. But with Batman the Animated Series, the thing I realized revisiting it throughout this week, and either through the clips or reviews or actually watching the episodes themselves, even when you had a poorly animated episode, there was always something of value or worth in either the characters, the performances, or the stories. Yeah. It's like a perfect example is the Riddler's first appearance. If you're so smart, why aren't you rich?
Why aren't you rich?
Yeah, it's like the animation is a mixed bag. Sometimes it's good, but it's definitely not as good as it should be. But at the same time, the story and everything around it, and especially the introduction of the Riddler and their version of the Riddler, just makes that episode pop as one of its best, I think. So
yeah, I think all of the villain introduction episodes are, for the most part, winners. Like the Two-Face two-parter especially, and Heart of Ice, and I didn't know this was a reviled sort of episode until later in life, which made me upset because as a kid it was one of my favorite episodes, and maybe it's just I have no standard of quality, but I still like it. I love the Christmas with the Joker episode, and I like several of the early ones that Tim Curry originally provided his voice for, I suppose, and we've talked about that on a previous episode of Night Owl. But yeah, I like that one, and the is it Be a Clown where he kidnaps the kid and takes him to a abandoned amusement park?
Yeah,
and
no, it's funny. The I Be a Clown is a really good episode. What's interesting about that one though is the kid who is the son of Mayor Hill.
Yes.
he really got annoyed at his father and decided to join a circus and follow
Smash
this
up his
clown.
birthday party.
Yeah,
And
yeah, but then it turns out, oh wait, this guy's a Joker, and that kid's not smart enough to realize, oh wait a minute, who's a Joker? So,
I thought it was Krusty. Aw.
yeah.
Wait, would he be in better hands with Krusty? I don't know.
But I don't know. I think no clowns are good. Okay, and as you know, I'm not afraid of clowns, but I do have an extreme hatred of clowns. So.
What? The dummy can't hurt you. He's dead. Throws it out in the audience.
That's one of my favorite. I'm sorry, that's one of my all-time favorite Simpsons gags. Is the curtain shows up and there's Krusty with the giant mustache and the ventriloquist. So you little kids like ventriloquism, huh? And speaking of ventriloquists, yeah, this as everyone's been mentioning in the chat, I think Space Ogre says all the other updates were great, though they made the Clock King into a legitimately great villain, and that's another thing about this show. This isn't like modern day Marvel where they squander these great characters or don't even bother trying to bring these characters up to a good level. But this series, oh my God, we were so fortunate that this creative team knew their Batman mythology and lesser known characters enough to actually bring like characters like Mr. Freeze and Poison Ivy, and the Clock King, characters that if you talk to like mainstream comic book fans at the time, it's like, who gives a shit about those characters?
And
They
Clayface.
suck. Yeah, exactly. And then they made like really awesome improvements upon those characters. Like, yeah, you're right.
Fleshed them out and actually made them three-dimensional.
Yeah, exactly. Or at least kind of like condensed and made them a little more understandable. Like Clayface, there was like 4 different Clayfaces, and this is not even counting False Face from the 2 False Faces, the one from the Adam West series and the one from the comic books.
That's the one I know.
Yeah, and that's not, and there's a 3rd False Face if you count the one from Batman Beyond. But no, the great thing is like they made a more coherent version of a Clayface, legitimately terrifying and fearsome, but he's still sympathetic in his own right. And that's another thing about this series I gotta praise. Unlike most attempts to try to make realistic superhero fiction, they weren't afraid of playing around with like fantasy and science fiction every once in a while. And as such, in Batman's rogues galleries, yeah, you'd have like the deformed criminals or like the mob bosses and all that, but you'd also get the occasional mutant monster or even the rare supernatural threat. So
I'm a big proponent of fat guy eating chicken who runs the underground hobo prison camp. Another one of my favorite episodes. Yeah, another one of my favorite childhood episodes that everyone despises. But yeah, I think that's a thing that and I would say that this show even over the Adam West show had a better cast for each of these villains.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, memorable portrayals across the board.
Yeah, but it's like again going like what is it like with the Marvel? Unfortunately, a lot of people think that unless you're Magneto or Doctor Doom, they really don't give a crap about the Marvel villains, and that's why you see in a lot of comic books they're always either getting killed or we just face the same 6 guys over and over again.
Yeah. Well, Spider-Man's really even the only supervillain who has a mainstream across a mainstream large enough rogues gallery that people are aware of.
Yeah, but even then it's fairly small. Whereas, again, to the credit of the people of this series, they took characters that were relatively obscure and pumped them up. Not pumped them up, but that sounds weird.
Bump it up.
Bumped them
they
up
pumped
a bit.
them up.
Yeah.
They bumped them up and their status and backstory and filled in spaces that needed to be filled in.
Yeah, a perfect example would be Mr. Freeze and Poison Ivy, because again,
I think those are the examples.
Yeah, like Mr. Freeze made multiple appearances, but he was just a thief with a cold gun, basically.
An auto preminja freezing you.
I prefer George Sanders. It's like, do you have the gun that you have the car that goes vroom vroom vroom? Oh, Batman, Robin, there you are. So, but anyways, but Poison Ivy particularly, it's interesting. She was just a one-off character from like I think the late 50s or the early 60s, and she didn't make much of an impact. And yet they brought her back in the show, and now Poison Ivy is like well beloved. Like she's not particularly one of my favorite characters from this series, but there's an obvious reason why she's so popular. And it's like it's amazing you can take a
We have
D-list
this show
character
to
like that.
directly we have this show to directly thank for Batman and Robin, and then those villains.
That is true. Like, the animated series was so successful enough that unfortunately we ended up getting Mr. Freeze vile Arnold Schwarzenegger and Uma Thurman vile Poison Ivy.
Yeah, and Bane too. I mean, well, Bane was sort of rising in popularity with the whole back-breaking arc, right?
Yeah.
But,
Well, that's the thing about Bane, though. It's like a lot of people, like, they instantly see the character and they just think, oh yeah, big strong guy who can break Batman in half. Like,
bomb.
Yeah.
Basically what they made him into. But in the animated show, he's a smooth talking. He kind of sounds like Ricardo Montalban a little bit.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
a smooth character.
Interestingly enough, he was voiced by Harry Salva in his
That's
first
right,
appearance. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm a big fan of Harry Salva, but
It's my pleasure to see you, Batman.
Yes. But no, that's the thing about Bane. The character is brain and bronze. You know, he's not exactly as brilliant as Batman, but he's really good at strategies.
Yeah.
And I think that's something they did kind of bring into the series with his character's appearance, whereas obviously the live action movie and a lot of versions of Bane in other mediums, they kind of dumbed down the character, sometimes for good comic effect. Like, I adore the version of Bane in the Harley Quinn animated series because he's basically middle school me if I was a supervillain. You guys don't want to hang out with me? Aww. But no, they did a really good job with a lot of the characters, and even now that, what is it? It's funny. As a kid, I did not appreciate any of the criminal mob stories, with one exception. But now today, it's like rewatching the series. Those are some of the best episodes they have, and thank goodness they were able to get away with doing so many of them in the first 65 episodes, because once we got to the WB reboot, they pretty much got rid of any kind of normal villain whatsoever, and you had to fight a supervillain all the time regardless. And it just
that really showcases the pure talent of the writing itself when they're not leaning on the Joker crutch every other episode.
Yeah. I think that was one of the big problems with one of the follow-up animated series, The Batman. Where it was just nothing but, I didn't mind the redesign of the Joker in that, and it was voiced.
And Kevin Michael Richardson is always fun.
Yeah, it's like, I like his version of the Joker. Here's the big problem, though. He's practically the only villain Batman fights for the majority of that series. So it's like, oh great, another episode with the Joker. Can we get another character? No? Okay, so there's 16 more of these in the way? Okay.
I think I watched the movie because I was tricked into thinking it was a Batman animated series type of thing as a little kid. It's the one with Dracula, Batman versus Dracula.
Batman versus. That was actually pretty good, I think. So for what it was,
I was just bothered with it being so different. I think that was my problem.
That ain't Kevin Conroy.
Yeah.
So, but no.
That's typically my problem in a lot of animated Batman shows. That ain't Kevin Conroy, and hashtag not my Batman.
No, and I know it's like I tried getting you to watch Ultra 7, and you were like, "That's not Kevin Conroy."
No.
Hey, Mr. Bad.
What do you want?
He would improve it, definitely, I think.
Yeah. So.
But can we talk a little bit about Kevin Conroy specifically?
Yes, absolutely.
Him being a shining diamond and the pillar of the show, and very quickly becoming everyone's favorite Batman and the voice of Batman whenever they read anything concerning Batman.
So I think, no, it's funny. One of the points we brought up in our the movie graveyard shift, I keep wanting to call it the Midnight Movie Graveyard Shift, was that he, right up there with Adam West, are probably the only two actors who will forever be known as the Batman, because they did it so often, and they brought so much to the role throughout multiple instances, so to speak. Whereas other actors, like we like Michael Keaton, but he really was not a focus of those movies,
of either movie, less so even in the second one. But no, and Michael, and I don't mean this to slight, and I actually mean it as a compliment. He doesn't have the longevity in the role that they did, and even whether or not his return will ever be seen by anybody now, in both the Batgirl thing but also in the Flash thing with the the man on the run in
Yeah,
real life who
yeah.
needs to be brought in by Batman.
Yeah, it amazes me that the actor who plays the Flash is constantly getting in trouble with the
Ezra
law.
Miller, yeah.
Yet they're keeping his scenes intact. They're going to refilm everything around Michael Keaton because apparently he's the problem with the movie.
What the? Yeah, that just seems so silly to me.
Yeah.
Anyway, Kevin Conroy though, yeah, unprecedented in his run as Batman.
Mhm.
Literally almost 30 years.
Oh, there goes
And-
Commissioner Gordon.
Oh, here I go. Who's the guy who voiced Commissioner Gordon? Because I always liked his sort of softer, older tone to his Gordon too.
Hold on, I have the Wikipedia page. Let me check out the cast here for a moment.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but no, there's again, it's kind of a
An embarrassment of riches when it comes to the cast.
but they actually use them. This isn't like I like the Lego Batman movie, but it's like holy crap, they wasted so many great actors.
Oh yeah,
in
they
their
totally
roles.
wasted Zach Galifianakis. Was the joke.
Well, it's like like Conan O'Brien as the Riddler, or like
That makes sense.
oh damn, what's his face? That one, the guy who was supposed to play Two-Face. Hello
William
there,
Shatner.
Batman.
Oh no! Oh, Bill. Okay, I was gonna say William Shatner.
Yeah,
But
Billy D.
no,
Williams.
he was
Yes.
yeah, William Shatner was in the Return to the Cape Crusader.
Yeah, and
universe.
the actor who played Commissioner Gordon was Bob Hastings. So,
I love his Gordon. He's always on the side of Batman. And, he's always great. There's that thing online where we've never had a bad Alfred. I would say, and I haven't seen the Gotham show, but from what I've seen, we've rarely had a bad Commissioner Gordon either. Because I even like the guy William Hinckley. I think that's a serial killer. The guy who plays
William
him in
Higgins?
the.
No,
I don't remember the actor's name. The man
Yeah.
who plays him in the
Tim Burton movies.
yeah, the 90s movies.
Yeah, and it's ironic too because that actor always plays like a southern asshole in a lot of his movie appearances. Yet he's just so huggable as his version of Commissioner Gordon. So
Yeah, and he wants to be Batman's best buddy, but he doesn't really have the time of day for him, which is sad.
Exactly, but no, and I love the fact that they gave so much screen time to all these secondary characters. Like what is it like? I know a lot of comic book writers and fans like to make a big deal about Gotham as a character, and it's right, but no, it's the people who live in Gotham, both the good and the bad, the normal and the insane, who really fleshes out the city. And I think this animated series does a fantastic job with all the different characters. Like we've had whole episodes dedicated to Commissioner Gordon. We had Harvey Bullock was a great recurring foil / semi-ally. It's like I even. Oh God, you're gonna hate me for this.
Pat Hingle is his name. I looked it up. I'm sorry.
Matt.
I had to redeem myself for getting him confused with William Hinckley,
Yes.
which is not Commissioner Gordon by any stretch of the imagination. But Pat Hingle. But anyway,
Or it's
you were
like
saying.
they actually gave a face to the mayor of Gotham in Hamilton Hill, who is which is not a very likable character. He's kind of a bureaucratic stick in the mud, but it's like great voice actor in that regard. And I even enjoyed the fact, well, this was mostly Paul Dini. He'll find any excuse to throw in a female character, but Veronica Vierlin.
Are you? I never see you and Paul Dini in the same room at the same time, Raf. I have questions.
We are not related. So, oh no, I forgot to put my fake beard on. Damn it. Okay, here we go. I'm Raf and Shoma. No, it's funny you should mention my brothers, Miguel and Gabe. They actually met Paul Dini on multiple occasions when they used to do the convention circuit here in Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
And they say, dude, Paul Dini is so much like you, it's creepy.
I've seen interviews with the guy, and I scratch my chin. I have to wonder.
So
are you putting on a front this whole time?
So okay, this is a quote from one of his interviews. I'm paraphrasing immensely. Okay, so I was supposed to do an episode with Plucky Duck and Tiny Toons. I was like, screw that. I'm gonna do one about 3 sexy anthropomorphic cockroach ladies in a band. That was an actual episode of Tiny Toons he wrote.
Are you quoting an interview or are you quoting your DeviantArt page?
Yeah, I know, exactly. But no, I was going to say he had a recurring character named Veronica Vierlin, who was sort of this redheaded ditzy debutante who was a friend of Bruce Wayne. But I love the fact that she constantly made constant appearances. And she was also like one of the co-star in like the Best Penguin episode, Bird of the Feathers.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I love that there's all these different recurring characters, even minor ones. Even some of the henchmen would get multiple appearances too.
And not just because they're the animation, not because the animation is lazy and they're just reusing models either. It's the same guy.
Okay, I gotta mention this. One of my all-time favorite recurring villains in Batman the Animated Series. Oh my God, you're gonna find this. You're either gonna hate me for this, but it's such a weird, obscure joke. Okay, when they did the WB reboot, they would have this one henchman with like a big black mustache and like a huge God, what is that, the kind of the pull down hat you put on your head when you're cold? Like I know skiers wear it or something.
Oh, well, in Canada we call it a toque, but
A
yeah,
toque,
like
yeah, yeah.
like a cap, a
Yeah,
ski
with a
cap.
gray toque. It's like has a very thin face. He has a black mustache. This same character design, this same henchman shows up so often in the WB reboot, and then I want to call him the Eternal Henchman. It's like he's like the Where's Waldo of the DC animated universe because he shows up in Justice League Unlimited as a henchman, and I think he even showed up in an episode of Batman Beyond as a henchman the same age. It's like, look, I've done
Yeah, and you like to think that it's the same guy.
I do. It is the same guy. I used to do a series of illustrations based on Batman villains, and these last couple of days I did some really good sketches of some of them that I'm thinking of restarting the series. But I'm gonna do a piece dedicated to the Eternal Henchman, and I will like it's amazing how many times this obviously. By that point, they got bored, and it's like, okay, we're just going to be reusing the same character designs over and over again. But the fact that it's this one same henchman over and over again, it's one of those.
Does he ever have any lines? Does he ever say anything?
There was
other than "Oh no, the bat" or "Ugh."
no. He did have one line, but that was for the most part he's silent. But there was one scene where he got beaten up by Catwoman and Nightwing. And when Catwoman left, his mouth was covered with like tape or something, and went like, and Nightwing was like, "Oh yeah, you're right, buddy." And that was his only line.
That's kind of he's kind of a victim of Hollywood then, because it's a well-known thing, if you're an extra in movies, you don't have any lines, otherwise they have to pay you.
Yeah.
So maybe that's his trouble.
Okay, yeah. So
I would even say that his mumbling there, his muffled screaming, was probably dubbed over by another henchman. Poor guy, he's got a raw deal.
I know, but anyways, let's get off of that weird little tidbit there. So.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
What tidbit shall we leap onto now?
Well, we're talking about like different cast members we love, but let's talk about. Go ahead and share your thoughts about Kevin Conroy and why you think he was definitely the wonderful pillar of this series that's very lacking in most other Batman media.
Yeah, it's interesting. Well, obviously Batman has to be portrayed by someone of they have to get that character right because he's the center stone of the show.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't really put my finger on it other than he's just, his voice in its tone itself is so like rich and three-dimensional where it's very expressive. Like if you look, and it's changed over time, later when he got into doing the Gotham games, it took on a different tone, whether that's from age. He was an older guy by that point.
Mm-hmm.
Because even you look at Mark Hamill's Joker, it's completely changed as his voice has changed. But in those early episodes, it was equal parts menacing, but could also very easily be like comforting and have a warm quality to it, and quizzical. Like he was just so expressive in the voice, and it all fit the character. Like, and him making the choice to make Bruce Wayne and Batman two separate characters within themselves. It was very easy to differentiate between the two. Like he never rested on his laurels, I don't think. And other than just his voice, it was his performance that always shined, and especially in the Batman centric episodes where Batman was thrown through the ringer and you really get to explore the twisted inner machinations of this guy's backstory.
Yeah, but he was still a very human Batman too. It's like that was one of the things I didn't like about the WB reboot was they made Batman more cold stone and scary, and as such, it's like what the great thing about the first 65 episodes, you can easily they made an effort to separate Bruce Wayne from Batman, and Kevin Conroy had a lot of fun with the dynamic between those two sides of him. Whereas in the WB reboot, it's like you'd be sitting with that newer version of Bruce Wayne. It's like, you're Batman, aren't you? No, I'm not.
Yeah, well, and that's what I love. That's what I was mentioning too, and trying to express is Batman is fun in the original show too. Like people, from the Arkham games, maybe people have pictured him in a different sense because of what his interpretation of the character has become through whatever project he's involved in. But in those original seasons, yeah, he's constantly smiling and being sassy. Like the people in the audience can't see, but my picture now is him doing his famous picture after the Joker says, "You wouldn't let me fry, would you?" And he makes this sort of sassy, the Willy Wonka face. You know, that's become that big meme, the sort of condescending Wonka pose. Batman's like a really warm presence in the original show and can easily, turn that switch to be menacing and the Dark Knight. But the character was way more dimensional in the early episodes.
Yeah, it's like
than what he became.
Yeah, no, it's like those first 65 episodes. It's like, they did a really good job with the Batman character. And like he comes off more human than other versions of Batman. Like this is a Batman you would buy who honestly does care about Gotham and its well-being. There's I know there's a lot of standalone Batman movies that are really good, but it feels like he's doesn't really have his heart or his sincerity in the right place in defending Gotham. It's like if it's either treated more like a job that no one else is going to do, and he reluctantly does it. And granted, there are some really good episodes of really good episodes of Batman the Animated Series where Batman thinks about hanging up the collar or not doing it, or he loses hope. Like oh god, what was that one where James Gordon got shot and Batman honestly thought about just giving up and not being Batman anymore? It's like I know.
Oh god, yeah, I don't remember.
I Am
that
the Night. I think that was the episode. So
okay.
Well, hold on, I'll double check.
No, it's fine. Anyway, but even the Batman Mask of the Phantasm, you want to talk about movies, I'd say he's probably the best movie Batman if you count that into the oeuvre of all the Batman films.
Oh yeah.
And it's sort of upsetting that was really the only theatrical crack that everybody got to take at it. Because it bombed so bad and they were sort of relegated to the direct-to-home video releases after that.
Yeah,
because even that movie holds up all these years later.
Yeah. No, it's still a really good movie, and for the most part, all the not counting Batman and Harley, almost all the movies based on Batman the Animated Series are still really good. It's like even the nadir of them, the lesser one, the Mystery of Batwoman, I think is a lot of fun in like an almost James Moore. The second guy who played James Bond.
Oh, Alan Moore.
Alan,
yeah, well, not Alan Moore. Roger Moore.
Roger Moore. Thank you.
Yes, Alan Moore. I hate that they don't represent Ian Fleming's books.
There should be invisible men touching women in wrong ways, I should say.
Could you imagine? That'd be wonderful. An Alan Moore James Bond film. No.
You want British? I'll give you sass. He spends 20 minutes choking Goldfinger. This is turning me on.
Does Batman get killed by a giant octopus?
Yeah.
Or squid, whatever that was in.
Oh yeah, giant squid. Okay, yeah, because there was a giant squid that was in one of the original James Bond novels, so that's why I got confused there for a moment.
Oh, all right, well it works.
Okay, yeah, and the episode we were thinking of is "I Am the Night," which is that was the episode where Batman is honestly. That's such a great episode too, and that's something you don't see with Batman media. It's like usually Batman is like a distant. A lot of people makes that big argument that Batman is not an interesting character, and that he's not worth exploring why his villains are always in the forefront. But it's like, to be honest, I think this show did a really good job balancing the villain and hero quota, as well as a lot of the side characters getting their own episodes or focus. So, but no, Kevin Conroy did bring a lot of humanity to this Batman and a lot of warmth, and you're right, it is a lot of fun. Do you think it ever gets a little too much though? It's like, I know Batman doesn't do like an Adam West style hoo-hoo silliness thing. Like
he doesn't dance. He sang.
Yes, twice if you think about it, because okay, there's that wonderful Justice League episode where he sings "Am I Blue?"
Yep.
But there's also, what is it? There's an episode of Batman Beyond that opens up with a musical based on Batman's life, and Terry brought Bruce to see it, and obviously Bruce is not happy. But the Kevin Conroy is voicing the stage actor who's playing Batman. So,
Oh, that's fun.
yeah, so I'm almost tempted to see any of the stage or
Do
theatrical.
do you think that might come into the fact that Kevin Conroy was gay and he just wanted to camp it up for an episode?
Did we mention that yet? That I think that's gonna be.
It's not really worth mentioning, but it's definitely a win-win for our team. And I think I think all of you people who are so opposed to Robin being bisexual can just go shit bricks or something now. But yeah, I think that's a a pretty cool thing, and happily married, and I think that's nice.
Yeah. No, it's always fun to
I
find out.
read the thing that he wrote for DC for Pride Month this year about finding Batman. It was a really touching story, a really touching piece. So I think it is worth mentioning, but I think he really got to enjoy camping it up though.
No, yeah, especially in those early episodes where he's playing like secondary characters, like Andre the waiter in the episode Pretty Poison. So
yeah.
Oh my god, yeah, it's like, yeah, no, Kevin Conroy was a really cool guy, and it's like, I don't think he did much voice acting outside Batman, but like I said, he like his one-time appearance on the Venture Brothers as Captain Sunshine is utterly hilarious because it's like. It's like he really gives us all just playing this incredibly unhinged man-child, and it's like one of his last voice acting roles outside of Batman was playing a merman in the recent He-Man cartoon series. Something that
I think we can skip over his live action role as Batman though, because not at all his fault.
Oh yeah, where he's playing like an evil version of the Batman.
An evil old Bruce Wayne, yeah, who gets killed in 2 seconds.
Yeah, what a waste of stunt casting. So, I know, but yeah, it's.
That was my response. That was my review. Seeing that. Yeah. That's was that Batgirl, or was that Titans? One of these new angsty shows.
I think that was. I think that was either. Well, I know Titans has its own version of Batman, who's an abusive father. I think that was like Supergirl or Arrow or the Flash universe or some nonsense like that.
Some nonsense.
Yeah, it's like, oh god, we could be here talking about all the different versions of Batman. But with that said, Brayton,
we could be here all night talking about all the different versions of Kevin Conroy's Batman.
But I was gonna say, Brayton, what's your you said you've been revisiting some of your all-time favorite episodes from the series. Would you like to share them before I share some of mine?
Well, yeah, I had mentioned The Man Who Killed Batman with Sid the Squid is a wonderful episode and ends on what I was saying with him having elements of the Batman having a soft heart, kind of being a softie, where, yeah, Sid the Squid still gets sent up and put in jail, but he lets all the inmates believe that not only did he kill the Batman, but he also took care of Rupert Thorne and he's a big deal in jail. This
and,
poor
and
little
survived the
guy.
Joker too. So.
And survived the Joker, yeah.
No, go on. I was gonna mention that episode is so great because it's a rare example. Well, actually, it's not rare for this series because again, this series works so well as these like individual, self-contained adventures, mini movies more so than short films, that they had multiple episodes where it was told from the point of view of a character who was outside the Rogues Gallery, outside Batman's family. And Sid the Squid, or Sidney, as his real name is, he's such a great character and voiced by Matthew Fuller, I think his name Fuller, the name of the actor, better known as Max Headroom.
Oh my God! Okay,
yeah, the actor
Max Headroom could be a Batman villain.
Yeah, but no, that's such a fun episode, and it's so great because you're seeing the world of Batman through the eyes of this lovable little innocent schlub who should not be there in the first place. Hence the reason why. Oh god, and one of the best Joker sequences ever in the entire series. So completely.
Yeah, first waiting for the Batman to show up and not really stealing anything, and then eulogizing him with the amazing "kick me" sign on his cowl.
Not to mention, it's like, it's like he's giving a very, like, for the Joker, he's giving a very sincere eulogy, but then the minute he mentions Sid the Squid, it's like, this little piece of shit that's right here.
The same piece of slime.
Yeah.
And then Harley and the henchmen are slowly backing away from Sid, while Sid's just there like, oh no, he's talking about me.
Yeah. Sid the Squid reminds me, there's an old character actor way back in the day, like from the 40s in Hollywood, named Percy Hilton, who you'll see, if you saw him, like 5 seconds of him, you'd probably recognize him. He's in a bunch of old movies. I've been watching a lot of old film noir movies, which ties into Batman the Animated Series kind of this month. And he's sort of a little guy who talks like this. And I gotta wonder if that was any inspiration for him.
I'm looking at a picture of Percy Hilton, and yeah, he could almost pass for Sid the Squid in real life.
Yeah, he's a wimpy, impish little guy, and I love stories like that where there's really no weren't the other criminals basically using him as a shield? Like he had no real purpose there.
Yeah, he was just there. Yeah, they told him he was the lookout, but in reality, he was just.
They just were waiting for the bait. To get
the
beat
bait.
up.
Yeah, it's like his friend in the organization says, "Oh, it's okay when Batman shows up, he'll beat up Sid the Squid and give us plenty of time to run away."
Yeah.
And not only that, but it's we've been watching some film noirs for our movie Graveyard Shift show. And yeah, that episode is like a really good comedy film noir, which I think is not a very well done genre.
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's the Dead Man Don't Wear Plaid, which kind of counts, but yeah, and Bullet for Bullock is sort of film noirish too. Very noirish actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, I when it comes to the animated series, I like, a mixed bag of both sort of semi-comical and serious episodes. I like Almost Got Him, which is a very well-regarded episode and sort of famous, but that one sort of has a comic bit at the end and has a lot of great comic interplay between the villains too.
No, yeah, definitely. Yeah, stuff that you don't notice when you're a little kid, like the fact that the Joker, when he goes to consult Two-Face, you don't notice in the first viewing that he's actually looking at his cards.
Yeah, and there's a lot of great little animation jokes in there too, and giving each other side eyes and everything. It's a great done piece on all fronts.
Yeah, exactly. And the best gag about that whole thing is it's not a gag you see the first time around, but you see it when you watch it for like the third and fourth time. Batman doing his terrible impression of Killer Croc. I know. Yeah, that's so hilarious.
Yeah, you don't really pick up on it. But I love the famous "I threw a rock at him" moment. And then it's kind of like a Raf and Shoma moment where you'll make a funny or a dumb, a humorously dumb joke, and we'll try to move on, but you won't let it go. It's kind of like with Killer Croc, where I threw a rock at him, and they keep going. It was a big rock, and they keep going, but they cut back to Killer Croc sort of shrugging and sort of slumping his head down. Well, I know it's Batman, and that I don't know if that reveal at the end ever really worked for me outside of the first time, because it's like, what a great costume! Like, how does he work that out?
Well, to be fair, it is Killer Croc, so I guess you could get away with like a weird creature suit easily.
Yeah, from the Spirit Halloween store. Just dressed up as the Gorn from Star Trek.
Well, here's the funny thing I want to mention. There's actually an episode later after Almost Got Him, where Killer Croc is hiding out amongst a small community of sideshow performers.
Yeah,
and
I've seen that.
Yeah, and he almost ends up killing Batman with a giant rock, but he's so tired that it just barely misses Batman.
Yeah.
So I have to think, when Batman made that joke, was he actually referring to the only time he got scared where he almost got killed, because Killer Croc did throw a really huge rock at him?
I do like to think it's all in continuity.
Okay.
I like to think everything that's happened has occurred.
Yeah, so I also like the writers are smart enough to actually kind of reference and, kind of poke fun
I'm
at
sure
their
they
own
were
stuff.
aware of that.
Yeah. It's like granted, like the DC animated universe under that team was the only time I could actually accept retroactive explanations for a lot of their weird stories. For like plot holes that made no sense, like how the hell does a warthog break through a brick wall? Oh, it was genetically engineered by Milo, the same mad scientist from the Moon of the Wolf episode. So it's like, oh yeah, okay, sure, I'll buy that bullshit. So,
Yeah. Well, the team too it was a really great time for Warner Brothers Animation, wasn't it? I mean,
yes, yeah, the
around
golden
this time
age.
with Tiny Toons and Animaniacs being, hitting the TV around the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Or was Animaniacs a little later?
No, Animaniacs actually came. Animaniacs was first, and then Batman the Animated Series, because famously,
Okay.
yeah, famously, Bruce Timm, when he was told that, oh, we're gonna be making a Batman the Animated Series, so get some ideas and pitches around, he famously said, I went back to my office, I threw off all the Tiny Toon Adventure work I had to do, and I just started sketching Batman. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I knew Tiny Toons was first. I didn't know about
mhm.
Animaniacs though,
Yeah, so, but it's
uh
weird to think without Tiny Toons there would be no Batman the Animated Series. So,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Weird crossover, wouldn't
Yes,
it be with the
without Plucky Duck there would, or Hampton Pig, there'd be no Jokers or Mr. Freeze.
yeah. We ever have a Batman and Darkwing Duck team up?
I don't think so. So
Something to consider.
does Disney own WB yet? The way things are burning over there.
It's any day now.
Yeah, but
Really.
no. Getting back to The Man Who Killed Batman, which is sadly a very ironic title.
I know.
of this
I watched it on the day he passed away, but I think it is a very good tribute to him, though. That whole episode being
Mm-hmm.
centered around him in grief and mourning.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had watched that episode and the Gray Ghost episode,
Oh
which
my goodness.
really affected me emotionally because now we're deprived of the two best Batmen, in my opinion, Adam West and Kevin Conroy.
Yeah.
And it really hits on a whole nother level at this point. I
Yeah.
watched that after Adam West passed away, and it hit me. And now, especially, it's tenfold.
Yeah, and it's funny too because that's one of those episodes that often a lot of people just kind of ignore, thinking it's just a bunch of filler compared to the more major
Or
episodes.
Batman's a fanboy. Ugh.
Yeah, that same old argument. But when you realize the episode is saying a lot more, especially when you realize who they got to voice the Gray Ghost, or Simon Trent, the actor. And I was actually watching the Gray Ghost just before we started recording this.
I know, I heard that.
Yeah, so the sound of the Mad Bomber, or should we say the Bruce Timm droids of doom. So,
Bruce Timm likes his robots, doesn't he?
yeah. Well,
He's a Robo fan.
actually, I think he's more of a furry.
Oh.
Okay. Me and my brothers, we went to see like a showing of DC Universe animated properties at the Egyptian Theater a long time ago, and Bruce Timm and several other writers were there. And it's funny because he kept everyone kept asking
And
him
what
questions.
did he come in dressed as like a pink walrus or something? And that's where these rumors spun from?
No. What was funny was that everyone in the audience kept asking him questions about why are you constantly putting animal people in your various episodes. And it's like, well, I guess I'm a furry then. And it is true. There's a lot of anthropomorphic animal creatures that keep showing up in both Batman animated series and elsewhere. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So
The whole picture comes into clear vision when you think about it.
exactly. So, but anyways,
We haven't had any uncomfortable makeout sessions on that front, though.
who, you and me?
No.
Oh, thank God.
Bruce Timm hasn't had Catwoman with a cat for real yet.
There was an episode where she turned into an anthropomorphic Catwoman, that's for sure.
Well, I mean, it didn't get, they didn't
weird.
start bathing each other. Yeah.
No. So I know Cheetah, the Wonder Woman villain, made out with Batman in that one Justice League episode. So Batman loves his cats.
Batman has like no standards. He and James T. Kirk are very similar in that way. Just anything that moves.
So, but no, getting back to The Man Who Killed Batman, I wanted to mention, this was a point that I didn't mention earlier. Now that I'm older and wiser, I can appreciate all the criminal crime-based stories that the original animated series had to offer, like POV and a lot of the Second Chance and stuff of that nature. But
And the Forgotten with the big man eating his chicken.
Yes, the Forgotten too. But even back as a kid, me and my brothers, and we were like maybe 8 years old or 7 years old when this show came on. We still thought Rupert Thorne was a lot of fun because he was the one mob boss. It was probably like familiarity through association. He was the one mob boss who kept returning over and over again throughout the series. But it's like not Vernon Wells. No, not the guy from the Road Warrior. Oh God, Paul Vernon or Vernon. Damn it, what's the name of the actor? Rupert. Oh wait, hold on, Rupert Thorne.
John Vernon.
John Vernon. Thank you so much, Brayton. Yeah, John Vernon's voice was always it was clear he was having so much fun voicing that character. And it was, and he got a chance to play an affable.
Yeah, and he was far more effective with Batman than John Belushi.
Yes. 0 points,
Batman. 0 point, Batman.
And just kept
You're expelled through in Gotham City.
And Batman just kept the Batman like crying.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah. But it's it's like Rupert Thorne's presence in that episode is really good too. It's especially the big twist at the end where Rupert Thorne becomes so terrified of Sid Squid. Now you think you can come and bump me off now, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait, no, Mr. Thorne. Enough, Sidney.
I do love the fact that he came in from the rain, but all throughout the episode, Sidney is sopping wet. He's just soaked from head to toe.
Sorry about your expensive leather.
Yeah.
Okay, but yeah, I just wanted, that was the last thing I want to say about the man who killed Batman. So, but no,
great episode.
Yeah, but the Gray Ghost, yeah, when you consider that episode was done during a time when Adam West's acting career was pretty much on the down low. Like he would appear in a lot of B movies around the time, but
Zombie Nightmare.
Yeah, exactly. But no, he wasn't given any significant roles or even love as far as the general public was concerned. It's like it was even during that time where I think one of my aunts thought the reason Adam West wasn't doing so much work was because he was a secret pervert or something.
Oh,
which is probably true.
This was after that failed Conan O'Brien pilot, Look Well, right?
Yeah. It's like
which should have been picked up. It's a really funny pilot.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, if you've never seen Look Well, which is
absolutely watch Look Well.
Yeah, that's like one of the best things Adam West has ever done. He's basically
free on YouTube.
Yes, he's basically playing a actor who used to be a detective on television, but now he thinks he's a real detective later in his life. So
and he's totally useless.
Yeah, exactly. And he doesn't have a badge. He just shows everybody his Emmys.
Yeah, it's really funny.
Exactly. So
Adam West was a real comedic talent, but he's also a serious actor, and he's wonderful as the Gray Ghost.
I know, and that's the thing. It was made during a time where he wasn't getting much acting roles. It's like he was still doing like convention circuits while dressed up as Batman, sadly.
Yeah, in front of like a used car lot too, or something.
Yeah.
Like that sad scene in a Galaxy Quest with Oh What a Savings.
Yeah, there's that sad video footage of like Adam West in his Batman costume. It's like, you recognize me, huh? So...
Why doesn't Batman dance anymore?
Step away, kids. To quote Homer. But yeah, so that episode has extra meaning that, they were celebrating sort of Adam West and his legacy as the Batman character through this like analog character who, granted, is more similar to like the heroes of the 1940s, like Dick Tracy and the Shadow and stuff of that nature. But it's such a great episode and so beautifully animated. And oh my God, this is something I miss about like television shows. Just to have to create atmosphere by the lack of soundtrack. Like, granted, this series had some fantastic.
Well, even I think to mention too, the music in this series is phenomenal and very cinematic, and unlike any other cartoon show on at the time. All thanks to Shirley Walker, and her theme for Batman is sort of the quintessential Batman theme in a lot of people's minds too.
Oh yeah, I think it even it's a improved version of what Danny Elfman was doing with the '89 movie.
I like it more than the Danny Elfman theme for this show. Like I wish they use it with when they rebranded it The Adventures of Batman and Robin, but I wish they would have at some point used that for the intro, because I think that's what more people link the animated show to.
And Laura has joined us. Hey, Laura. So, ladies and gentlemen, sorry we're not reading too much of the chat.
Nora.
Laura Fitkin, she's the frozen lady. So, wait, does that make Nick Mr. Freeze?
Oh, my God.
Hey there, I'm going to freeze you now. Yeah.
Hey, I hope you like my ray gun.
Yeah. Check out, I got a baby now.
Oh no, baby freeze!
Okay. You're out of your mind, baby freeze. Yeah.
Were you as freaked out as I was when Mr. Freeze came back? And the episode's not bad, but the whole transformation of him into sort of, he starts out as a headless spider robot in Batman Beyond, and then is the half cyborg.
I think they may have gone a little too far there. Like
A little too far in a few places.
yeah. Like here's the thing, I love Mr. Freeze and he's almost not had a bad episode, but Cold Comfort's the episode that reveals that Mr. Freeze is now a spider. Spiders. They're everywhere. Yeah. I think they went a little too far there. It's the idea of his body like falling apart and the fact that this supposedly this is interesting about Cold Comfort. That's cold, guys. Ice cold. Sorry about that, Laura.
Ice cold.
Yeah. So now I'm tempted to do a picture of like an evil version of their baby with a freeze gun. So
Yes, baby freeze. Tonight the playground freeze is over.
the freezing griffin, the winter griffin. Hey, that's the name of your baby supervillain monikers.
There you
Okay, but we're terrible. No, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry that we're not really keeping on top of comments there. Although we are going to ask some questions towards the end of tonight towards you. But anyways,
Goji Shea brings up Johnny Bravo too.
what does Johnny Bravo have to do? Oh,
I don't know, but I just saw Johnny Bravo. And it
oh my
made me
God!
smile.
Yes, Adam West had a really memorable guest spot playing himself in an episode of Johnny Bravo. And there's a great gag where he's like, Johnny, like he's dressed in a nice suit. He's talking to Johnny, I'm just a regular guy. There's nothing special about me. And then suddenly his muscles pop out of his suit and rips his shirt. And it's like, oh, not again. Or it's like Johnny Bravo first sees Adam West. It's like, there's Adam West coming out of his house. Just another normal day for me. And then suddenly he's attacked by a bunch of Power Ranger monsters. He beats them all up with his bare fists. And it's like, nah, usual morning routine.
Wow. Adam West had a very eventful Sunday.
Yeah.
And every day.
Yeah, but no, it's wonderful how it's similar like Christopher Lee, where people forgot Christopher Lee, but then like all his fans grew up to become creatives and actual directors and filmmakers.
And
then
put him in things.
Yeah, and then Christopher Lee, at the end of his life, suddenly saw a second resurgence of his career, and now a permanent appreciation to this day after his death. And a similar thing happened with Adam West, like the Family Guy, for example, famously
Made him a mainstay character. On
yes,
the show.
exactly, because McFarlane, the guy in charge of the show, him and Adam West became quick friends. They actually knew each other because of that Johnny Bravo episode. I think.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. I think Seth MacFarlane. Is it Seth MacFarlane?
Yeah, Seth MacFarlane.
Yes, yeah. I think he worked on the old Johnny Bravo show. In fact, there was a whole season where he was completely in charge. And yeah, you can see a lot of like early precursors to his humor in American Dad in that season of Johnny Bravo. But it was true there when they first met. I think it was him behind the episode with Adam West, and a lot of the weird jokes like the bulging muscles that Adam West has in one scene.
Seth MacFarlane didn't write the Grey Ghost episode, though, right?
Ironically, no, but guess who did? Yeah, no.
Ooh.
One of the major co-writers on the episode was Tom Rugard, the guy who would do do Freakazoid.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Well, that's not too far removed. But anyway, Kevin Conroy though and Adam West do have a great chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
And there's pictures of behind the scenes recording of those two. And they play off each other really well. And it's another, more moments where you can see that other side of Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Not only Bruce Wayne, but Batman himself being more vulnerable and childlike. Childlike isn't the right word. More vulnerable.
Yeah.
More vulnerable, and you get to see him interacting with his hero.
Yeah. Do you think it's a little okay? I know it's one
a
of
little
those
too sentimental, maybe. But I don't mind.
I don't mind the sentimentality of that episode, but you think it's a little much when Simon Trent comes back to help him and he's dressed as the old Grey Ghost? It's like, you need my help. It's like, realistically, he would not be a very good ally since he's an aging actor.
Well, if you want to be cynical about things, Raf.
I know. I'm trying not to be cynical. This is Batman the Animated Series, goddammit. So when you get to that third season and the damn Gotham Knights, spin. Oh my goodness. But anyways, yeah, no, The Great Ghost is a great episode, but it's already a great episode in its own right, and I think me and my brothers were a little spoiled because Miguel more so, but all of us, we were huge fans of like the 1930s, like the classic pulp superheroes of the 30s and 40s. You would not believe how many times we watched that same Rocketeer VHS on a weekly basis.
Goodness.
Yeah, so for the Great Ghost episode was already a big win for us. But no, now that when you get older and you discover the history of everything that inspired the episode and where Adam West's career was at that time, the episode suddenly has way more special significance to it. But it's also like like you said, the two great Batmans together in one episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you a big fan of the Phantom? You seem like you'd be a Phantom fan.
You know, it's funny. I never really thought much about the one with Billy Zane, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I never really much cared for that movie, but then it was on YouTube for free for a month, and I rewatched it, and it's not half bad, actually. It's actually pretty good.
I was gonna say, yeah, some of them got lucky. Shame what happened to the Spirit and the Shadow, though.
Yeah, yeah. I don't. Well,
unfortunate.
no. I don't know. Is the Shadow movie any bad? I think isn't it supposed to be
It's
good?
the mistake of trying to treat the Shadow like Batman. The Shadow isn't a superhero. The Shadow is a detective, and all they wanted to do was rip off Batman.
Okay, Tim
And,
Curry's
and
in it,
then
though.
and then with Tim Curry's always good, but it'd be great. It would be great. I would love to see a accurate, well done, contemporary version of the Shadow. Same with the Spirit, where it was what they were trying to do, trying to make the Shadow into Batman. The Spirit was way into Sin City territory and was an absolute train wreck from beginning to end. No thanks to the wonderful Frank Miller, who we've been talking about sparingly tonight, because the less said about him, the better.
Yes. So Laura is apparently a big fan of the Phantom, so I'm not alone there. So,
All right.
okay, I'm going to read this quick thing from Goji Shea since it is kind of relevant to Adam West. The only non-Batman movie I think I've seen Adam West in was Robinson Crusoe on Mars. And the sad thing is he's not the lead character, the titular character of that movie. He shows up at the beginning and he's killed fairly quickly. But there is a great episode of The Outer Limits called The Invisible Enemy that's all Adam West by himself fighting basically a giant sand shark, and it's great.
Yeah, I remember that vaguely. I should rewatch that just for Adam West in Dune.
Yeah,
Adam
West,
or Adam West stranded outside the house in Beetlejuice.
yeah. Adam West versus a sand kaiju. How could you not go wrong? All right, so, and ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about another one of Brayton's favorites, but if you want to list out your favorite episodes, go ahead and we'll read them after we're done talking about the next episode. What's another one that you really like, Brayton? Because if not, I can definitely mention one I like.
Well, what have I made mention of tonight? We just talked about the Gray Ghost and the man who
killed Batman.
Killed Batman. We talked a little bit about Almost Got Him and Bullet for Bullock. Can I sing the praises just very quickly of Christmas with the Joker, because that one gets so maligned?
You know, it's funny. Yeah, I would definitely say it's one of the lesser episodes, but it's still a lot of fun. It's like,
and I saw that it said that was sort of my I guess would be my introduction to Mark Hamill's Joker at a young age, because it was one of my first episodes that I can recall offhand. And yeah, he's having a ball, and I love his little Christmas with a Joker program and his festive little Bing Crosby sweater and everything. It's a really adorable, and it opens with the Joker singing "Jingle Bells, Batman Smells." It's a delightful time, I think. And that's the Christmas episode where Batman and Robin, he wants to show Batman It's a Wonderful Life? I
could never get past the title.
Yeah, that's it. It's perfect. I don't see where all the hate comes from. I can get that it's not as good as others, but for it to be so like universally lambasted, I don't understand.
Yeah, well, again, I don't think there's really is well, not counting the WB reboot, I don't think there really is a really bad episode of the animated series. It's like even the one that's often referred to as the worst episode, The Terrible Trio, it still has some decent elements into it. It's like there's always something of worth in this series. But no,
was the I've Got Batman in My Basement, was that part of the revamped?
No. That was a part of the original series. So that's one that people often tends to hate. And I think it's not a bad episode. It's like, granted, when you're a little kid and you're basically seeing like Batman's Home Alone, it's like, oh, this is lame. I don't want to watch this episode. Come on.
Yeah.
I want to see Harvey Bullock and Killer Croc battle each other.
Oh, we never got that, did we?
No, we didn't. So he just took him hostage. But it's, oh man, there should have been an episode where like Harvey Bullock just went crazy on a supervillain and just started beating the shit out of him.
Harvey Bullock had to fill in for Batman for an episode.
Exactly, and it's like when Robin and Batgirl comes in, he's like beating the Mad Hatter death, and like Ben Robin's like, he's already dead.
This isn't a mud hole; it's an operating table.
But no, Christmas with the Joker. I remember in a lot of interviews with Bruce Timm and Paul Dini and some of the other writers and producers, they all said that that episode came from an early time where they were just starting to figure out the Joker's character. And some of those early episodes, to them at least, felt like rejected Super Friends scripts. But even but even when you say that, Christmas with the Joker, as well as a Joker episode I like a lot that a lot of people don't. Oh God, was it The Last Laugh?
I like that one too.
Yeah,
That's the April Fool's one, right?
Yes, that is the
mentioned
April
here.
Fool's one. Yeah. The Last Laugh. That's the one with the Joker and some henchmen, and one of the greatest henchmen ever, Captain Clown, the robot.
Yes.
They take a garbage barge, a ship, and fills it with laughing gas so they can just have free run of the city and rob it. But no, I think, and oddly enough, I think that was the first Joker episode that aired in my region of the United States. So that was.
I can smell you from here.
Oh God, but yeah, it's like that. Both the Christmas with the Joker and The Last Laugh were great because it really highlighted the funny and scary side of the Joker. It's like there's a like in Christmas
and
with
there's
Joker,
room for both interpretation. That's what makes that character so great. Is that he can go off the handle and switch at this blink of an eye. It doesn't all need to be drudgery and Heath Ledger nightmare fuel.
Yeah.
It can be a mixture.
No, I'll give credit to Heath Ledger because Heath Ledger's Joker, as scary as he was still funny. The pencil gag trick is was disturbing and funny at the same time.
Yeah, but I think in a way it was the what broke the floodgates to the drudgery that we have now, where everyone all the angsty, edgy teenage edgelords worshipped the Heath Ledger Joker, and then future actors said, "Oh, I'll just do that this time. I'll just do a worse version of that."
Yeah, it is a shame, but no, what you mentioned about Mark Hamill's way of going from like scary to funny and back again. There's this one gag in Christmas with the Joker I think is great, where the Joker has just introduced his family of hostages.
I know. Doesn't he give them all embarrassing names like Uncle Poopy Doopy and Baby Foozle?
Yeah. It's like Baby Awful, I think is what he calls Harvey Bullock.
Yeah, yes, Baby Awful.
Yeah, but no, he's going like, personally, I could care less about a family. I was like, you can have them, Batman, and you better because they're going to be killed in a couple of hours. It's like, I love how he goes from like, like comical
0 to 60, and
yeah. It's like he goes from comical disappointment to like, oh, I'm going to kill these people. So
yeah,
but yeah, no, and The Last Laugh was great too because he's funny and terrifying in that one too because. It's like there's that weird gag where he's laughing his head off as he's being taken on the conveyor belt on that broken metal thing, and you just have that
with his space helmet.
Yeah, and you just have that weird scene where it's like he's writing in silence by himself with just smiling and waiting for Batman to follow him. And of course the Captain Clown is great because I've never seen such a hilarious sequence of somebody's like extreme rage.
From heartbreak to rage.
Yeah, exactly. You killed Captain Clown.
You killed Captain Clown.
So, with that said, though, considering that version of the Joker, from all we know about his origins, he used to be a member of the Verestri mob from and he was, I think,
and you see him in Phantasm for like a split second, don't you?
Yeah, and he's basically a hitman for the mob or like a major muscle. Do you buy the fact that he was always kind of a genius in his own right? It's just when he became the Joker, he really...
That's what sent him over the edge and Cuckooville.
Yeah, but do you buy the fact that this like kind of high-ranking member of a mafia after he got mutated, suddenly became like a brilliant super genius. Because when you because don't forget, this is the same guy who brought himself back to life with magic microchips in the future.
I know. Yeah, that always confused me, and I think at a certain point I just stopped asking questions. Because hidden beneath all the giggles, he really is at Batman. Not maybe at a even sort of kill with Batman's intelligence if he can work that out for himself.
Yeah, so it's like I don't know. I always kind of chalked it up like realistically, maybe he's just really good at adapting others people's technology. Because I know he stole a lot of that technology, like in the Batman Justice League Unlimited. It was revealed that the Joker stole a lot of the technology he would later use in Batman Beyond from Cadmus and Amanda Waller and her gathering of mad scientists. So maybe it's like
But good lord, that's still convoluted.
Yeah.
Maybe that's how Dick York was able to do his New Year's Eve special every year for so long.
Hello, intern. Come here so I can put a microchip on your neck. You sure, sir? That doesn't... Hello, he mutates into the new Dick Clark. Yes, I live again.
Oh, you just see a really disturbing home video footage of Dick Clark working on some young intern. It was a lot of work, but I finally welcomed a new member of my family.
I didn't know Dick Clark and Harley Quinn dated.
Yeah, a long time ago.
Okay, so
I'll tell you about it more later.
Right. Oh God, Laura says there should have been a Phantom of the Paradise Batman crossover. We can't. Well,
Paul Williams was the Penguin.
Yeah, Paul Williams, who played Swan in Phantom of the Paradise, also played the Penguin, and he's a good.
But if Paul Williams sang "Am I Blue," that'd just be weird, because he dubs over all the Phantom's song.
I'm honestly surprised they didn't have the Penguin at all. Like, he's by himself on the piano, and he's like, over the rainbow, the dreamers, the penguins in me,
that me.
And it's like, and they realize as the Bat family's behind it. It's like, how long have you been there? You didn't see anything.
He runs the Iceberg Lounge, for God's sake. He could do he probably does some musical numbers there.
Yeah, it's
2:45. There's no one in the place.
Oh my God! Like if they allowed Paul Williams to sing on the show, or if Paul Williams himself was actually willing to sing on the show, that would have been
that may have been the clincher.
Yeah,
if he was willing to.
Yeah, it's like, you have to pay me extra. I'm Paul Williams, damn it.
Yeah. Whatever
you say, you 24-inch weirdo. He was that tall.
It would have been a great live action Penguin too. So a few of the voice actors would have been equally as good, I think, in live action. The Mark Hamill's little stint as the trickster on the original version of the Flash TV show, you could easily see him in the purple suit.
Yeah.
I think maybe John Vernon or Jack Vernon as Rupert Thorne, not so much. He'd have to wear a big fat suit, but for the most part, across the board, I think they were really great actors first, and that's what they were more than voice actors. They embodied all the characters.
Oh yeah, like Richard Mall as Harvey Dent and Two-Face. It's amazing how. Yeah, it's like he really did a good job as Harvey Dent, as a character who I honestly wish we had more episodes where he was just normal before he became Two-Face. But yeah, it's like even when he's Two-Face, and it's like he has that gravelly voice. It's like, damn you, Batman. You still had those great moments of sympathy. It's like
they actually let him keep the penny.
Yeah. Oh, it's like one of the best moments of Two-Face being of having humanity is the episode of The Strange Case of Bruce Wayne. The Strange Secret of Wayne, where it's like, no, Batman is secret is Bruce Wayne. No, that can't be true. Bruce Wayne's a good guy. So I'm paraphrasing, but that definitely happens. But yeah, with that said, though, before we go back in the episode talk, who were among your favorite characters in this whole show?
Oh gosh, well,
or too many to pick, and we should just move on.
Yeah, probably. I could probably spend a lot less time telling you the least. I don't know if there's anyone I really dislike that much. I don't know. Maybe, like, I would even have to say, just because they didn't get a lot of airtime to really flesh out their characters. I was never a huge Batgirl fan, I guess. But other than that, not too many. Maybe Ra's al Ghul could have gotten a few more episodes to himself. He was someone I always kind of found iffy for me.
Really?
Yeah, I was never a big, and that bled over into the Nolan thing. I was just never a big League of Shadows guy.
You know,
But
to be honest, I think Ra's al Ghul was best served in the animated series. But then again, that was my first introduction to him. And as you know, he was voiced by the late great David Warner, who we also lost earlier.
I know
this year.
and you're a huge fan of
No,
Mr.
yeah.
Warner.
So it's like David, like if David Warner is in something, it's instantly like pumped up 10 points as far as I'm concerned. And it's like having him play Ra's al Ghul, and he does like I rewatched Showdown, which is one of my favorite episodes. We'll talk about that later. But yeah, David Warner does such a great job with the character because he really brings an authoritative presence to his, but also a wisdom and world wariness that's almost affable in the regard. Like he's still a bad dude. He wants to take over the world and return it to nature. But it's like, yeah, no, that version of Ra's al Ghul I always thought, or Ra's al Ghul was always like really good, and there's never been a good Ra's al Ghul after the fact.
Yeah,
So,
I will say the Riddler is my favorite Batman villain.
mhm.
And I will say that John Glover, is it John Glover who does?
I think it is
the voice?
John Gro. Yeah, hold on, I got the cast
Yeah.
list
But
right
yes,
here.
because he has a cameo in Batman and Robin, to go back to that, as the guy who creates Bane, the scientist who then gets kissed by Poison Ivy. And
Yeah, which is okay. John
cultural.
Glover, and yeah, that it's funny in Batman and Robin, he's actually playing a famous his doctor character actually comes back from the dead in the comic books to become the fly. Damn it, I'm getting the name wrong. Um, Wilson Wildrew. Somebody in the chat will probably know who the name of the character is, but he basically comes back as an evil tree man. The Flodronic man, I think, is the name of the character. So
From
yeah,
Hell It Came.
yes, Tabanga. I can say
Yes.
Tabanga, but yeah, no.
Yeah, just to add another Batman the Animated Series and Batman and Robin connection there. Man, if only they got an actual live action film. When did that happen?
I know, but no, John Glover is very, very good as the Riddler. In fact, I think if like John Glover, if they didn't get him, it would have been hard to separate the Riddler from the Joker because, yeah, Well, it's like, do you think John?
The ideal scenario for me, because he's my favorite supervillain in anything ever, would be to have Frank Gorshin do the voice also in the show. But I could see why they wouldn't do that. But
yeah, ironic. It's funny you should mention that Frank Gorshin did one of his final roles. He actually voiced Hugo Strange in the Batman, the animated series.
I need to hear that.
Yeah, and you almost he's almost unrecognizable because his version, that's like, as much as I don't like the Batman, their version of Hugo Strange was so weird. It was like Sidney Greenstreet playing a bizarre mad scientist psychologist, voiced by oh darn it! Now I just lost his name. What was it?
Frank
again?
Gorshin.
Frank Gorshin. It's like, yes, I understand Batman has delusions that we can use for our own purposes. Yeah,
That's really interesting.
yeah, and he appeared in a couple episodes too, actually. So, but yeah,
Wait, he appeared in the animated show?
no. That version of Hugo Strange appeared in the Batman.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying Frank Gorshin appeared in the episode, like a Cool World type of scenario. That'd be a little uncomfortable.
Why is there a live action actor fighting Harvey Bullock? No, Harvey, I'm too old. Shut up, you.
If only it was Judy McCruption, then things would make sense.
Yeah.
But no.
Anyways, so thank you, Space Ogre. He says Jason Woodrow, aka the Floronic Man. So yeah, that was the character David Warner played. No, not David Warner. John Glover played in Batman and Robin. So
yeah, and I will also agree with Mr. Freeze that the animated series brought to the world is probably the best. And I do think it's sad. This is the last time I'm going to mention it, I swear. But Batman and Robin, it's sad that they screwed it up so much with that new origin. There's one good scene in the entirety of Batman and Robin, and that's when Mr. Freeze is defeated, and there's a great, like, it lasts for 2 minutes. There's a great 2 minutes of that movie where he tells, "Go on, kill me if you want to," and Batman sort of appeals to the humanity of Mr. Freeze lying there, and saying that he'll help move his technology into Gotham and he can continue his research. And he knows that there's the good scientist buried deep beneath the snow.
Oh yeah, and that little moment where Arnold Schwarzenegger's Mr. Freeze,
take two of these and call me in the morning is wonderful.
yeah, that's a sincere joke coming from him. But also the point, it's like, oh my God, there's a second chance. Thank you, Batman. You can see that
Yeah.
on his face.
It's a beautiful 2 minutes. And
Mm-hmm.
man, if the rest of the movie had lived up to that scene. But anyway, the new Mr. Freeze origin was a phenomenal boost to that character and to the
Right.
series as a whole.
Yeah, and voiced by Michael Ansara too, who was like
Yeah. It was phenomenal.
yeah. We like Michael Ansara. It's like he's probably best known to Outer Limits fans as the titular soldier in the episode Soldier. You
Yeah.
know, but yeah, it's he does such a great job playing that character too. So, but yeah,
Yeah,
no,
and he also voiced him when he returned in Beyond, right?
yes, in fact, he was pretty much Mr. Freeze for the whole DC Universe run. So,
Yeah.
and it was great that, unlike most of the Batman villains, we actually had a story arc with that character from his first appearance all the way to his ultimate tragic end. Although I may be mistaken, but apparently the the Batman Beyond comic book series brought back that version of Mister Freeze, but now he's a good guy who helps Terry every once in a while. But I may be
Oh.
mistaken there.
Yeah,
So,
I always thought Mr. Freeze was interesting because he never really acted in total self-interest like all
mhm.
the other villains did. It was all for the greater purpose
Yeah,
of either, well, for getting revenge or for furthering his research for his wife.
yeah, or
Uh,
saving Laura too, and you can be very
yeah.
reasonable if you talk to him in the
Not so
right way.
saving Nora, Raf, not
Yeah.
Laura Fitkin.
Damn it! Sorry, Laura, I got you mistaken with Mister Freeze's wife,
Yes.
Laura. Damn it! Sorry.
Yes. I still say we need a Nick and Laura Fitkin version of the Thin Man. That'd be great.
So
A
much
lot of drinking.
Okay, so Ari owed him a picture. I'm already working on a picture where their baby is a kaiju. So, but yeah, you'll see.
Okay.
Okay,
All right.
but no, yeah, it's ridiculous the actors they got to play these characters. Like Michael Ansara as Mr. Freeze. I'm looking at the listing right now. It's like Mark Singer, the Beastmaster himself, playing the Man Bat. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, Ed Asner as Roland Daggett, and that's an interesting character. That it's the evil, corrupt businessman who's responsible for Clayface's creation, but he's also a recurring character. And the interesting about that character, originally the Roland Daggett was supposed to be, oh darn it, Christopher Walken's character from Batman Beyond. But due to Batman Returns, but due to weird copyright reasons, they had to create
Max Shrek.
Max Shrek, yeah. But due to copyright reasons, they couldn't use Max Shrek. So what they ended up doing was they created Roland Daggett. But here's the funny thing about Roland Daggett: he's basically Norman. He's alternate universe Norman Osborn, not Norman England.
I think Norman England in our universe lives in an alternate universe,
Yeah.
so it makes sense.
I hate everything, but we love you, England. But anyways, no, Roland Daggett is basically Norman Osborn, the Green Goblin, if he never became the Green Goblin. That's the big in joke about his character. So, and why he's the only character in the Batman the animated series who has that particular like Steve Ditko haircut. So,
Yeah.
and if that's not the only time they reference, they create a original character directly based on a Marvel character, Rhino, the huge henchman of the ventriloquist. He's basically the Rhino from Spider-Man if he never became a supervillain.
And if he never became Paul Giamatti.
Yeah. So, poor Paul
For a minute.
Giamatti.
Yeah.
So,
But that's interesting about that not being able to use Max Shrek because they used the name Jack Napier for the Joker.
mm-hmm. So I think that was a case where they could get away with just the name drop. But as far as like an original movie character, I think they were given a big kibosh on using Max Shrek. Although, wouldn't it have been weird? Like, who can?
Hey, having a guy do a shitty Christopher Walken.
Yeah,
impression.
exactly. Like, who do you get to play Max Shrek in the animated series? So,
I don't know.
oh my
You
goodness.
have to find someone. You have to find someone who does a good Christopher Walken, which means any white guy over 20.
Oh yeah, I'm reading the list. We got to give credit to Roddy McDowall as Jervis Tetch, the Mad Hatter.
Yeah,
It's like it's like it's funny too because as a kid back then we grew up with like Roddy McDowall playing relatively sweet characters in various movies, completely not knowing that his breakthrough film role was as a creepy teenage stalker who helps his girlfriend murder a bunch of people and like Lord Loves a Duck. That weird 1960s comedy.
Lord love a duck.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, and he does such a great job playing like the Mad Hatter. Granted, though, I think he's probably one of the more likable versions of the Mad Hatter, but he's still a creep in his own right. Whereas other versions of the Mad Hatter, they go overboard with making them too sinister and too creepy and too icky. It's like, whatever. We'll get to it. But anyways, back to the episodes.
You want to talk about perchance to, or not perchance to dream? I get these dream titles mixed up, and I get perchance to dream also mixed up because that's the title of a Twilight Zone episode.
Yeah, a
But,
really good Twilight Zone episode.
A great
too.
Twilight Zone episode. But Dreams in Darkness is one of your favorite ones.
Yes, I think I would have to say Dreams in Darkness. I know someone in the comments mentioned it earlier that they also loved Dreams in the Darkness. And before we move on to the subject, Goji says, I always thought Derek Powers, aka Blight from Batman Beyond, felt like he was basically Norman Osborn just transferred to the DC universe. Blight was actually a comic book character. They just updated him a little bit for Batman Beyond and turned him into like a corporate villain along with being a radioactive mutant. But yeah,
that's the guy whose skin progressively falls out and he turns into a glowing green skeleton. Right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that's him. Yeah. So yeah, but no, Dreams in the Darkness, I would have to say, is probably my all-time favorite Batman the Animated Series because again, it perfectly encompasses. I know I said that word wrong.
Encompasses.
Thank you. I'm not gonna do it.
You were pretty much on the money. Okay, I said it for you.
Okay, thank you, buddy. That's why you're a good co-host. That episode perfectly shows the mini movie format of this whole series because, like, seriously, that could be released in theaters as like a short before the main feature and it would still work. But again, the one thing, it's a Batman centric story. Because it's told from Batman's point of view. He even narrates.
Yeah, he gives the noir narration. I was over at the hot spa getting my abs done. No, he doesn't say that.
When suddenly Torchy showed up and sprayed me with some funny gas. Take that, man. Bummer. Ooh. Anyways, no, it's told from Batman is telling from his point of view. He's the narrator. It's done like a classic film noir. And you really feel for poor Batman, too, because he's in a no-win situation. He's suffering from the Scarecrow's gas by accident, too.
He's tripping hard.
He's tripping hard. And what's worse is he crashed into Arkham Asylum, so they just assume that he's finally gone crazy. And it's like they won't listen to a thing he said about...
After all he's accomplished.
It's so sad to see him here. And it's funny, too, because it's like usually in cinema and in American fiction, the psychologist is treated as an antagonistic character who lets their arrogance be the judge of to be the guide of their judgment. But here, Bartholomew, which, Dr. Bartholomew, he honestly thinks Batman has lost it, but in his own ways, he thinks he's doing the right thing, though sadly his inaction is a major sticking point against his character. It's like, Batman, just to let you know, we checked on Scarecrow's thing and Scarecrow's cell, and yeah, he's not in there. Oh, then you'll do something about it. We'll let them call the police, maybe? You son of a bitch!
Karate kick!
Knee to the face! Oh, Batman, why? So, but yeah, it is funny that it really shows, because usually you think everyone's on Batman's side, but it's like there's those characters who don't like Batman for various reasons, like, Harvey Bullock famously in those early episodes. Like, what are you doing here, freak? But then there's also like the in-between of people who, they respect Batman for what he does, but they still think he's a crazy guy.
He's off his rocker.
Yeah, exactly. And he's in a no-win situation in that regard. Also, even though I know people prefer the WB reboot version of the Scarecrow, I think the Scarecrow, at least the original version of him, is really well handled in this, because they tweaked his design a bit to make him look a little scarier, but it's also a lot of really good atmosphere and mood. Not just with those really awesome hallucination sequences, but even the scenes where it's just Batman by himself sulking inside his cell, or it's like when we cut back to the Scarecrow with his very incredibly enthusiastic henchmen who aren't.
You mean Batman is?
Oh, it's even worse than that. Much worse.
It's worse than that. He's stab. That's all a bunch of gestures.
I know, and it's like I love those henchmen too, because it's like they're clearly not doing this for the money. They're doing it for, or they're not like weirdos from Arkham who are being forced to work for the Scarecrow. They are honestly like on his side. It's like, oh, this guy, like the most evil henchman ever.
He's a doctor, Raf.
Yeah.
He knows what he's talking about, clearly.
Yeah, Torchy, the big black cyborg henchman who shows up early in the episode, who's a great design, by the way. I wish we saw more of Torchy. That's his name, actually. I thought that henchman never had a name. Yeah, it's funny. It's like I think he only works for the Scarecrow because he thought he'd get an internship in the ways of supervillainy. So good, and it's like the way the Scarecrow is talking to him on the camera. It's like, "Good job, Torchy. Now fix this thing next." Sure thing, boss. Oh man, Batman's here just in time. But no, the Scarecrow is great in that episode. I think that was the episode that, because we kind of knew who the Scarecrow was, believe it or not, through the Super Friends series, because the last season of the Super Friends, Challenge of the Super Friends, actually had a strong episode that was written by I think it's oh darn it, one of the people who worked on Kevin Altieri worked on that episode of the Super Friends, and they attempted to actually do a scary version of the Scarecrow, and actually it's the first time Batman's traumatic past was actually shown on screen. Like, it was mentioned in like the Adam West series in the first episode, but it was actually dealt with where, Batman is terrified of going through an alleyway because it's bringing up terrifying visions of his family, and the Scarecrow tries to use it to his advantage. But no, I think that particular episode, Dreams and Darkness, was when I fell in love with the Scarecrow character. Because
and I will debate Goji Shea here and say that this episode particularly scared the hell out of me as a child, and I stayed clear of episodes with a Scarecrow in it because they were so terrifying. And even now, I was like, "Oh, this is a little too scary." When he has that total flip out at the end with the villains coming at him and transforming, and the Penguin's head blows up in like a John Carpenter The Thing type of situation.
Oh yeah,
and Ivy comes out. It's a real trip out.
Oh yeah, and the worst part of it is, like, behind like floating possessed plant lady, or Ivy comes out like nonchalant Robin and Alfred. It's like,
"It's the end for you, Bruce.
It's time to go home, sir." And then it ends with Batman falling into the giant kaiju vortex face of the Scarecrow.
Yeah. Well, he kind of gives. We love Kevin Conroy, and I'm not doubting it for that. But he kind of gives a similar Bilbo falling in the Hobbit's Rankin Bass thing, where Bilbo goes, "Ooh," and instead Kevin Conroy goes, "Oh." It's a little funny,
Yes.
but it's a weird thing. And then the last sort of trip that he has is he try to grab something and then they become snakes, and that's it. He gets over it real quick.
Yeah, he's trying to rip out wires onto this gigantic water purifier that's been turned into a chemical weapon. And and that snake is so wonderfully well animated and designed. And I love
but Batman doesn't have time for it. He doesn't bother with
and
it
he
at all.
just squeezes it to death, and that great expression the snake gives before it fades back into like hallucination land.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, there's some really great creativity in what is basically a very basic episode of Batman on the Case. But, it's almost like now think about it, it's almost like DOA when you think about it.
Oh my God.
Yeah, except instead of dying and being looking like Eddie oh God,
Ricky Ricardo.
Ricky
yes.
Ricardo,
the great Edmund O'Brien in his tour de force freak out role. He basically spends the whole movie trying to solve his own murder.
And he has to do
frantic as hell.
Yeah, frantic as hell because he's dying basically. But yeah, this is a very similar DOA in the sense that Batman, he has to kind of save the day before the Scarecrow wins out. But at the same time, he's suffering he's tripping, like you said, terribly. Yep. But no, I wanted to say that the thing I love about the Scarecrow is in between like the full-on fantasy sci-fi monsters Batman fights, or the mutants, you should say, one should say, and the regular criminals who might have some deformity or some weird gimmick to them, there's this Scarecrow, and he's perfectly in the middle. And it's great because for such a villain who doesn't have supernatural powers, he's almost perfect. He's quasi supernatural or false supernatural in that weird way. Which is why I know a lot of people prefer the Scarecrow when he's portrayed as a horror movie villain. But I always like the versions of Scarecrow where he's more like a dark fairy tale character come to menace the world of the living, so to speak.
Yeah, or not quite fully into Freddy Krueger territory, but
Yeah.
He's got a paraphernalia wagon. Is what we're saying with his
Yeah, oh my god,
scarecrow gas.
oh my god, now I gotta do a picture of the Scarecrow coming down on his, like, little Grinch
You
wagon.
Karaya.
He's confronting, like, a little kid Batman, so it's like, you're gonna keep your eyes open and enjoy it, child. So,
Ooh, Hans Conried as Scarecrow.
oh my god, that would have... Oh my god, Hans Conried as
It would have worked.
Yeah, Hans Conried as the Scarecrow in the 1966 Batman. Oh my god.
Would have been perfect, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that would have been great. So it's although granted, it'd probably be the costume probably as cheesy as the one in the Disney Scarecrow series.
Well, I think that would have worked.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
still kind of an unsettling costume, Ralph.
Oh,
Kind of
dude.
like the little sack of potatoes on his head.
Yeah, so I will give credit to this though. I do think that the WB reboot version of the Scarecrow is a big improvement because it is a generally great design. It doesn't like even the producers admit it doesn't look anything like a Scarecrow, but it does suitably works. It works great as just a scary looking creature. And the fact that we never see Jonathan Crane outside of the costume ever again really is very effective. But also, hold on for a moment. Hey, cat. That's my cat, by the way. Who's if you hear that weird licking noises, that's her doing her grooming right now. She's found a new spot next to me. Oh no! Stop the no, cat. Let go of my hand. Oh God, this is how Catwoman feels when she's not having a good day.
She's trying to turn you into Catwoman.
Oh my God.
It's like that scene where she gets shoved out the window. She's trying to lick you and bring you back to some sort of life.
I know. Okay, I got free from the cat's grasp. So and
Now
also,
destroy your room and destroy your dollhouse, Raph.
I'm gonna wear a body tight leather outfit. Try to imagine that. Okay. Oh, the good cat. Anyways, but yeah, no, that's what I love about the Scarecrow. It's like he's almost like a more monstrous version of a Scooby-Doo villain. He dresses up as a scary monster, but he commits to the role to the point where he literally sinks into it. And it was kind of a disappointment seeing Jonathan Crane outside of the costume. Granted, we got one really great funny gag out of it in the episode Harley's Holiday, where the Scarecrow is being taken back to Arkham, and he's like, telling everybody he's gonna like have revenge against all of you. You will all know the name of the Scarecrow. And then like Harley says, "Hi, Mr. Jonathan Crane," and it's, "Oh, hello, child." And he goes back to ranting and screaming at everybody. So, but yeah, no, I really do love that episode because yeah, it's beautifully, it's well executed in every regard. The animation is gorgeous. The nightmare sequences are very creative. Even though we see better like hallucination scenes later, the Scarecrow is well handled in that one, and that's where I fell in love with the character. It's told from Batman's point of view, so it's definitely a Batman-centric episode. So yeah, no, Dreams in Darkness is my #1 favorite episode. So, but I do have,
That's great.
yes, I do have some two very close contenders. So,
Okay.
I
I have two very close chicken tenders, so we'll let you go first.
Okay. All right, then I.
Chom, chom, chom.
Now on the opposite end, this is an episode that I can watch endlessly, and I know it's not one of the best episodes. It's far from the worst, and it's far from the best, but it's definitely not in the middle. I think it's like in the upper tier Batman episodes, but it is definitely a weird one, with just how kooky and offbeat it is, especially when you consider just how weird the villain is. The Clock King episode.
Okay.
And, yeah, and it's so weird too because I know the term Kafka-esque gets thrown around a lot, but when you really think
That's sort of shorthand for this shit don't make sense.
well, no, it's like the stories of Franz Kafka. They were always about like little minor problems in a bureaucratic world, whether it be banal.
Orson Welles made a direct Kafka film in The Trial, and it's very much Anthony Perkins in a large dystopian bureaucratic society being put on trial for reasons he's not aware of.
Yeah, no, most Kafka stories, they always start off from like a very small, mundane problem that escalates into a nightmarish, nihilistic end. It's like, or even when there is some kind of like bizarre, like the famous story about Gregor Samson becoming an insect. It's not how he became the insect. It's like, oh, what are you going to do with the rest of your life now that you're a giant bug? So it's like, and that story is almost very Kafka-esque in the way it starts. It's a story about this tightwad efficiency expert who owns a company, who's going to have like a basic court hearing that might decide the fate of his company. And then he's given some kind of like not bad advice, but kind of unhelpful advice from Mayor Hamilton Hill, who at that point is just a basic lawyer who takes the subway like the rest of us. And through just some very basic, unfortunate circumstances, Fugit, who would become the Clock King, basically loses his company, loses the court documents he was supposed to bring in, thanks to some ill-behaved children. And it's that wonderful shot where the judge ironically tells him, well, this should have taught you to be on time next time. And it's just that wonderful shot where it just zooms into Temple Fugit's mouth as he's screaming in utter terror. And it is one of the best screams in the whole series, too. So, and then it just cuts to like 5 years, 2 years later, 9:57. and then they play up, and so many wonderful little gags throughout the whole episode, too. This lone tightwad who might be on the spectrum now rewatching the episode, because just how obsessed he is with keeping time and being on time, he basically snaps and becomes a more extreme version of himself. Remember how we were earlier talking about how unbelievable it is that a mafia member becomes the Joker and becomes a super genius, and yet somehow I buy it with the Clock King in this, because he's so good at remembering like schedules and numbers and math that he could, like this guy who's probably in his 50s could become a physical match for Batman just by timing everything in his head. So it's
who's his sidekick? The Sinister Secretary or something?
Miss Perkins, help me fight Batman. Okay.
Yeah, I think he's gonna end up picking a fight with us, Raf, on starting our live stream. We must irritate the hell out of him.
Yeah. So, but no, I just love how from this minor thing we become like one of the greatest, most successful Batman villains ever, and all this just to have his petty revenge against Mayor Hamilton Hill. Petty revenge that evolves into like a subway disaster that miraculously doesn't kill anybody, but is still pretty spectacular because it's two trains ramming into each other. And then of course the ending of that episode, the climax, I should say. Again, another redheaded stepchild of the Castle of Cagliostro, where it takes place inside a clock tower, and it's very well done. It's nowhere near as good as the climax of The Great Mouse Detective, but it's right up there basically. And just so much things about the episode. It reminds me of like a twisted take on like a Harold Lloyd movie, where it's like all these bizarre stunts happening.
Do they recreate the Batman hanging from the clock?
Almost, I think. I know they definitely recreate the Castle Cagliostro death by closing minute hands for sure. But no, the episode is really like, I don't want to call it, it's not dark, it's not a laugh riot, but it's almost like sophisticated comedy of manners in like this weird Kafka-esque type man. That's the only way I can really describe the episode. And yet it's very well paced. It's very well set up. It's very cinematic too. It's like the music is on point. The fact that Batman and Alfred plays a big role, like, driving Batman to all these various areas to find Fugit. So especially that hilarious scene where it's like, don't worry, sir, this is one of the finest alleys in all of Gotham, while a friendly rat is like almost like waving at him from the car hood.
Ratigan?
Huh?
Ratigan?
Why not? So
Vincent Price is the Rat King. Could you imagine?
Vincent? Oh my goodness! Yeah, indeed. So, but yeah, no, I just love the episode very much, and I'm glad that Temple Fugit did have a sequel episode, Time Out of Joint. And I will give credit, Time Out of Joint is probably the better episode of the two, but something about the Clock King is an episode I can just rewatch over and over again because it's really, really that good for me. And again, it's a perfect example of a mini movie that this series was so good at. So, but yeah, the Clock King is just a weird guy, and it
weirdo.
Works. Yeah, a weirdo. So it's like Batman, that wonderful line. It's like Hamilton never did any crimes towards you. He did worse. He made me late. before they have their epic showdown inside the clock tower. So it's such a good episode. So have you seen the Clock King?
I haven't. You're speaking. Maybe I have, but not recently. We should have correlated our favorites before we
I know.
began the stream.
I highly recommend it. Like rewatch the Clock King and see just how good that episode is. It is.
Okay.
It's like, again, like it's like Franz Kafka and Douglas Adams wrote a Batman story and they were told not to get too weird, but they still got weird.
And they said F that.
Yeah, exactly. So
How does it feel, Raf, knowing that both of your live action characters could absolutely easily translate into the Batman universe?
oh, which one's the Crimson Weirdo? And,
Crimson Weirdo and Detective Dirty McCruption.
the Crimson Weirdo less so, but Dirty McCruption, as everyone knows at this point, or mostly you, Brayton, he's just basically my spoof of
Everyone knows he's world beloved.
Yeah, he's basically my spoof of the crooked detective, the crooked cop who keeps showing up in Batman media. Particularly,
Yeah, if you go back in the Show archives on this YouTube channel, you can find Raf's first development of Dirty McCruption, and yeah, that's essentially who it was just Batman the Animated Series style crook.
Mm-hmm. So it's
that's where that little bit of audio comes from that we used in our intro.
What does everybody
you
have
dying
Tommy
on the
guns
streets?
in this city?
Gotham, you are a fickle mistress.
I know. So it's like, and yeah, so Eckhart, yeah, the character from Batman 89 was a big influence on Dirty McCruption. Yeah. But as well as that one crooked cop that Commissioner Gordon was paired up with in Batman Begins. But it's like, yeah, and a little bit of Harvey Bullock, but Harvey Bullock is a sweetheart compared to those two guys. So, by the way, this is something I've noticed with a lot of female comic book fans. They kind of fancy Harvey Bullock from the animated series.
Yeah, he's kind of like a big, lovable, obnoxious, tough guy teddy bear.
Yeah.
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 I think especially in Bullet for Bullock, which is his episode. You get to see that, his major flaw is he's just unpleasant. That's all.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. We love watching him, but it's sort of like Peter Venkman in the first Ghostbuster movie. It's like we love watching him, but if we actually had to spend time with this individual in real life...
no way.
No way. Yeah, so... But no, it's like one of the best things about Bullock, I'm just going to say quickly, is the person who voices him. Hold on. Oh, darn it. I had his name here. Where is he? Okay, there he is. Robert Costanzo. Okay. Yeah. Apparently,
not George Costanza.
Yeah, no, not George Costanza. But no, apparently he loved playing Harvey Bullock so much that he would tell the producers, if you ever need Harvey Bullock, even just to say one little line, he'll come in and do it. So,
yeah.
But yeah,
is he still around?
I think he is. So, but I'm kind of afraid to click.
Oh yeah, you don't. Yeah, you probably shouldn't jinx it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He is currently.
He's still alive, and hopefully he'll be with us a little bit longer.
For a long time. Yes.
Yeah. It's like, God damn it, we've lost.
He looks a lot like George, from Seinfeld, like George Costanza.
Yeah,
so that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, he used to be a lot more. When he was doing Harvey Bullock back in the '90s, he was a much more handsomer guy. But yeah,
I say he's aged like fine wine, Raf. The man's 80.
Yes, indeed. So, but yeah, the Harvey Bullock episode, Bullet for Bullock, is a lot of fun. But
yeah, and kind of it's interesting that you can kind of trace these things. The one thing I really did like, I didn't not like it. I did like, to a certain extent, the new Batman film, but it was sort of interesting how, what's the name of the actor? The Irish guy. I'm a big fan of his. I'm upset that I can't remember his name. Playing the Penguin in the new. He was also Deadshot in that awful Daredevil movie.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, Colin Farrell.
Colin Farrell, yeah, he's in a new movie too. I want to see that's come out this year, the Martin McDonagh movie. But he sort of does an old timey Harvey Bullock-esque accent when he does this mafioso. That is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I don't know if it was. I think it was more, trying to do a 1930s gangster Al Capone type more than Harvey Bullock, but similar type of tone that they go for, that New Yorker type of thing.
Yeah, he's a lot of fun as that character, by the way. It's I especially love like when he's being shown the terrifying photos, like, why would you show that to me?
Yeah, and I like when he's tied up, he has to sort of waddle away as he's left alone.
Or it's like when he sees a flood Gotham, and it's like, ideas. How am I gonna benefit from this? Yeah. Okay, so I have God. Yeah, it's a shame we didn't like share our favorite episodes beforehand, because I know you either never seen this episode or you're going to hate me for this third episode I really, really like. And
Okay.
I do have to admit, it is a major cheat, because it is definitely one of those episodes where we've had episodes told from the point of view of a character outside Batman and the Rogues Gallery. You know, like again, Bullet for Bullock, or The Man Who Killed Batman. But this is an episode that just goes off in its own direction completely, to the point that it's literally a character you don't like that's narrating the whole thing, like a storybook to Batman and Robin. It's the episode Showdown from the towards the end of the original run. And it's the episode where Ra's al Ghul and his Society of Shadows have kidnapped somebody from an old folks home, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And Batman and Robin are wondering why they went to such lengths to take this aging individual who's basically an invalid at this point. And it's like Ra's al Ghul leaves behind an audio tape, and Robin stupidly puts into the Batmobile and explodes, and everyone dies. The end. No, I'm just joking. No. But although, to be fair, like, if a supervillain leaves behind a tape cassette, you find something expendable and far away to play that in. So I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But no, he puts the tape in, and Ra's al Ghul tells a story about back in 1889 when he was building a giant warship blimp.
And then Batman immediately falls asleep.
Yeah, at the wheel, and the car crashes, and everyone dies.
And that's how
And Ra's al Ghul is like, excellent.
Excellent.
Ubu, rub my feet. Yes, sir. But no. Then it suddenly cuts into this wonderful little period piece, this wonderful steampunk Western adventure starring Jonah Hex, and probably one of the few good versions of Jonah Hex in media outside the original comics, where it's a much older version of the character. He's now a bounty hunter who's chasing after a villain named Duvall, played by Malcolm McDowell, different from Rodney McDowell.
Yes. Very different.
Yes, who is the second in command of Ra's al Ghul's operation, where he's building a giant war blimp to take over America. So it's basically a kind of a play on Master of the World.
Yeah. Also with Vincent Price.
Yes. So Vincent Price is Ra's al Ghul, or the Clock King, or anybody. Take your pick.
Anyone in this universe.
Yeah, he never played an egg-based villain, by the way. So we're just pretending.
No. Of course, that never happened. You know who also would have been a great Batman guest villain?
Who?
I think we may mention this before. Paul Lynde would have been wonderful as somebody.
Oh yeah. So I'm surprised he did he show up as the camp counselor or something? Oh no, that was a Simpson gag. Never mind.
Yeah.
Don't forget to use your claws, boys. Yeah. By the way, yeah. I totally agree. Yeah, Goji Shay. It's the episode Jonah Hex. And it's funny because that was me and my brother's introduction to Jonah Hex. We had no idea he was even a character in the original comics. And
Old melty face.
Yes, and this was obviously the showrunners like, hey, we're comic book nerds. Let's do something stupid. Jonah Hex episode. Boom.
Yeah.
But it ties in perfectly because Ra's al Ghul is the main villain of the story. And it works beautifully, too, because, yeah, it's still being told from the point of view of a villain, but it's sort of a third-hand account of what happens between Jonah Hex, who's just a bounty hunter who just wants to make $200. And, of course, back then, $200 on DeMont's head was a lot of money. We're talking, like, millions in inflation dollars here. But, yeah, that's all Jonah Hex wants. He doesn't care about the giant war blimp that's going to take over America, but he becomes so annoyed by DeMont's and Ra's al Ghul's treatment of him that he basically takes on the whole operation by himself. And it's a very thrilling episode. Like, it's hard to do steampunk movies or weird Western movies without them being very contrived or just boring. But this 20 minute story does a better job than Valley Guanji, Wild Wild West, and Cowboy and Aliens combined into one film. So yeah, it's really good. And if you haven't seen it, I think you would enjoy it a lot, because you told me how much you enjoyed the Vincent Price Master of the World episode, and this is very much like a really big like a really more cinematic version of that otherwise decent B movie.
Can we ask the question, why are there so many damn blimps in Gotham City?
Yeah, why are there so many?
Hey there, blimpy boy. It's nothing but Simpson references tonight.
And then the door opens up. There you are, Homer Simpson. I've been finding you all across this damn country. There's a $300 bounty on your fat ass.
That's also the end of The Simpsons.
Yeah.
and the world cheers. Yeah, what is I mean, they could are blimps the most effective way of surveying the city?
No, well, okay, so obviously, and this has been mentioned in interviews before, they were trying to create their own little alternate world,
Yeah,
their own alternate world with Gotham.
I'm not hating it. I'm just questioning the practicality.
I'm trying to explain it the best I
Okay.
can. And their big idea with Gotham and the whole world that Batman the Animated Series exists is this is basically the modern world if it continued from what we thought the future was going to be at the World's Fair in the 40s. So of course I think
retrofuturism.
Yeah, retrofuturism. So I think that's why they went with the blimps, because that seems like such a weird alternate idea that you don't see very much of. Granted, though, it is weird how, like in most narratives that takes place in an alternate world where blimps are, the bee's knees, so to speak, that you'd have all sorts of different blimps. I know there's that Doctor Who episode, Rise of the Cybermen, where it takes place in an alternate world where blimps are basically the flying home / travel ships of the rich and wealthy. So, but then it's like here, it's like blimps are just used for policing, nothing more, nothing less. And granted, they're like sometimes it's used beautifully. Like I think there was episodes where the blimps are using searchlights to find people in like the more crime-ridden areas of the town. But yeah, I think the over-reliance on blimps are not a good idea in this series.
Yeah, I just keep thinking. You ever seen the movie Black Sunday, the '70s film where he hijacks the Goodyear blimp and plants it with explosions and is going to drive it into the stadium?
Yeah, it's like other than the Scarecrow, no villains really use blimps. Well, okay, Ra's al Ghul did, but that was like years after.
We need more. Yeah, utilize these things more though.
Yeah, exactly. It's like who needs big balloon toys at a parade when there's like free blimps everywhere?
Yeah.
So yeah, but no.
Is there someone? Are they remote operated?
No. They're piloted by people. So
yeah, poor schmucks up there. My God. First off, the worst job in the world to be a member of the Gotham City Police Force, but also to be the guy that gets stuck on blimp duty. When you got man bats flying around, that's a spooky.
It's like countless henchmen hanging from ropes. It's like, oh, we gotta save this guy now.
Yeah.
Batman left me and didn't say sorry. We're coming, Sid the Squid.
Also, I'm wet. I'm panicking and I'm wet.
Oh man, there's Torchy and that one henchman who never gets any lines. Let's get him. Thanks, guys.
What'd you call him? The Eternal Henchman?
The Eternal Henchman, yeah. So... Yeah, but no, Showdown is a really good episode. And yeah, I wish you saw it beforehand because it's a very fun episode. But at the same time, I feel a little guilty recommending that episode because it is not a Batman episode whatsoever. It's Jonah Hex versus Ra's al Ghul's son. So
okay.
All right.
I'm a bit of a Razor al Ghul denier, but I'll give it a look.
Well, why don't you like Ra's al Ghul? Is he just kind of like a little out there for a Batman villain? Like, there's this lost James Bond villain. Does anyone know where his parents are?
Well, I even like the James Bond villains. I don't know. There's something about him that I think Vincent Price would have made more infinitely interesting. I think it's because I've always kind of been a little put off by period pieces that are, centuries ago, like the stuffy sort of costume like period pieces and period villains in general. That I don't know, maybe there's just something inherent in Ra's al Ghul that I just don't connect to or find it entertaining.
I guess it would be like you're watching Family Guy and all of a sudden Fred Flintstone comes out of an iceberg and it's like, I'm a part of the show now, Barney. Wait, Barney's dead. Oh God.
That sounds like an actual cutaway gig.
Yeah,
I believe that may have happened.
Indeed. I know there was an episode of Billy and Mandy where they resurrected Fred Flintstone and he's like growling in the whole episode. And
isn't Fred Flintstone, when he did appear in Family Guy, wasn't he a judge?
I think so, yeah. So
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was a judge of copyright infringement or something. I don't know. I can't
Oh yeah,
remember.
the crossover between Family Guy and The Simpsons.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Okay, Warrior King just came into the chat. It's like, I'm sorry I'm late. Been listening for a while, but been busy putting my work stuff, going silent along for a bit. But it's like Vincent Price makes everything more interesting. That is true. Goji Shea says blimps and monorails are that's what Gotham is filled with, and also he says yes,
Monorails.
monorail. So, and then he also says he really likes the Man Bat episode on Leather Wings, which is the first episode of the whole series technically. But yeah, no, On Leather Wings is really good too. So the episode of the Man Bat, because that really, like, that was our the first episode that aired in our region of
It's interesting they decided to lead with Man Bat though.
No, I think it was a good idea because it really shows what you can do with an animated series Batman, and using, like they said, using a character that has never really been touched upon in Batman outside the comics, Man Bat, showing that yeah, this is what we can do with the art of animation as far as Batman media goes, and that's how you end up getting a weird character like that. Give me a second. I just realized. Oh no, I turned off the oven. Okay, we're good. I'm gonna have a smoke.
Let me just light this match here.
That's how I became Two-Face,
Oh.
or Jerky Face Man, as some people would call me. So.
No, I just call you Jerk. Yeah.
Okay, but yeah,
Take that.
yeah, but no, there's some other episodes I really like, but I think those are my 3 top favorite episodes. But I do feel a little guilty mentioning Showdown, especially since you seem to be a Ra's al Ghul denier.
All right.
So that's okay. Not everyone can enjoy the power of the Lazarus pits. So, but no, everyone, name off your favorite episodes, so that we can read them off before we call it a night. Because how long have we been going? Oh shit.
We're at the 2 hour and 18-minute mark.
Okay, so sadly we got to wrap this up. Do we dare talk about the WB reboot?
I think that's a little off the deep end. I will just briefly retouch though on Kevin Conroy. The Arkham games I actually have played. That's
Really?
actually
You
something.
play?
Yeah, that's.
Okay,
I've
I'm sorry.
I've played
I
a
never
handful of
knew
video games in my life.
Okay, I never knew you played video games.
I hardly do.
Yeah, me too.
If I'm being completely honest, I've probably played 10 video games in my entire life, and I'm happy to keep it that way. And most of those video games were on when I had the Super Nintendo when I was little. I had my brother's hand-me-down Super Nintendo and a GameCube, and I've played the Arkham games on PlayStation.
Remember how you got confused with Blimps and Gotham? That's how I feel about GameCube mini discs.
Well, that's okay. The Arkham games are extremely complicated, and I did complete them. I have finished them to completion. The last one, because the way of order was Arkham Asylum, then Arkham City, then Arkham. I think it's Arkham Origins, which is without Mark Hamill or Kevin Conroy, and then those two came back for Arkham Knight, which was the final of what's the company that put those out? Was it Rocksteady or I don't know. I don't know. I don't know video game companies at all. Okay, I'm totally out of my element.
I think it's Rockstar Games.
Okay, well there you go. But those are very interesting video games, and yeah, Kevin Conroy gave equally great performances in those as well. So even in video game land, Kevin Conroy shined in. I guess Arkham Knight would have been his last. I'm talking about big mainstream performance as Batman. I know he's done those DC short things and what have you.
Yeah, but a lot of the direct-to-video movies in some regards.
Yeah, but so yeah, gave a great performance as Batman up until the end, and completely stayed relevant.
Yeah.
So it's sad that we've lost him, but what a legacy he's left.
I know.
And because everybody of different ages and every generation will know him, from not only the cartoons but the video games and all of the projects he's been involved in and the movies. He's always enduring, I think.
Yeah. No. It's weird. I don't think the shocks hit me yet. It's like to think a world without Kevin Conroy is kind of still a reality that's still kind of like hard to contemplate. Like we'll
Yeah, I
never
get
hear that Batman
pretty
voice again.
yeah, I get pretty callous to celebrity deaths at this point because over the last couple of years, pretty much all of my hope is lost because all of my favorite people are now dead.
Oh God, yeah,
So,
Betty White last year, and then this year you had Angela Lansbury.
well, last year and this year, a plethora of movie people died.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it was like astronomical. It was like a big wave. So, but the point being, Kevin Conroy's death was something I just flipped on my phone and saw, and I literally didn't think it was real. Like it stopped me in my tracks for a minute. Like
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was a fake thing, and then seeing it on one after another, quote unquote, legitimate online news sites. Yeah, it was a very odd feeling for me because obviously I never don't know the guy, and I had seen numerous interviews with him and stuff, but it was sort of a shock to the system, similar to when I learned that Adam West died, and that put me into like a week-long slump, where it just seemed unbelievable to me, and especially because he wasn't that old. He was 66, right?
Yeah,
Which
yeah.
these days is not that old at all, really.
Yeah, no,
In the
it's
grand scheme of
yeah.
things.
There's a gag in the time travel episode of Justice League Unlimited where I think it's an older version of Static Shock who says 60 is the new 30, and yet we've gotten to that point where 60-year-olds look as beautiful as 30-year-olds did back in the 50s.
Yeah, and I know he had. I didn't know him prior, but I suppose he had been battling cancer for quite a long time.
Yeah.
Uh, it's just incredibly sad that yeah he's no longer with us, and it still doesn't really feel real to me.
Yeah, no, yeah, the shock is still there, and
The Queen of England died, and that field felt more real to me than Kevin Conroy passing
yeah,
away.
who cares about her? She screwed over various nations.
Well, that was, I mean,
Yeah.
for yeah, all due respect, that was kind of an about time, isn't it? Type
Yeah.
of moment.
That's funny. That's the first line in the Clock King. It's about time. He just explains the whole episode.
No.
Yeah, I
That's
forgot.
also a final. Oh, hey, Burgess Meredith was a great Pingman, but imagine as the Clock King with you look at his role in Time Enough at Last.
Yeah. So, God, there's so many.
There was time. There was
Time
finally
enough
time enough at last.
It's not fair.
Yeah.
Submitted for approval. I'm being a dick this week.
Yeah, he pulls off a great. He can wear glasses well. I think he would have done it.
Yeah.
Done a great
So.
job. Anyway.
Yeah, but no.
Any last words on Kevin Conroy?
Yeah, no. Like I said, he's been a major part of my childhood through this series, and he definitely is probably the best Batman. With
Yeah.
With Kevin Conroy coming in as close. No, not Kevin Conroy.
Yes, I'd agree. I agree. Kevin Conroy is the best, and coming in at a close second place, Kevin Conroy. I mean,
Wait a minute. There's something wrong with this Kevin Conroy. He's a robot. His silicon soul. What have I done? I murdered a man. Anyways, okay. That's a
but
great.
Kevin Conroy, I would say is probably the best. Him and Adam West. It's really hard for me to choose.
Yeah, no, for me though, I think if I really had to pick one or the other, and you had like a giant Tommy gun at my head, I would have to pick Kevin Conroy because he brought so much to the role in those first 70 or so episodes.
Yeah.
And he did such a great job. Like you said, it's a fun Batman, but it's also a serious Batman. He showed many layers of the character. And he had such good material too. It's like again, that show was done in a lightning in a bottle situation that could not have been redone ever again. Like, when they did the WB reboot, yeah, the designs were kind of made simpler but less appealing. Unless you're into angular women. I don't know what the hell Bruce Timm was thinking at the time.
Yeah, what a weirdo, right?
Yeah, exactly. Paul Dini, though, there's a man. Fishnets for everybody. Anyways, that's his line, not his quote, not mine. But yeah, no, you definitely compare like when it got rebooted on WB, so much got lost compared to those first 85 episodes. Yes, it was the first 85 episodes that are almost near perfect all the time, even if they sometimes repeated a lot of the same beats over and over again. And it was in those 85 episodes, I think that's where Kevin Conroy burned into everyone's mind the legacy of him being the best Batman. Because I love Adam West. Adam West is a lot of fun, and he's so great in many regards.
But Adam West is perfection in a certain type of Batman universe.
Yeah, and
where Kevin Conroy can I would say he can translate a little better over into either end of the spectrum,
Mm-hmm.
being very goofy and fun, or taking it very seriously.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like so many different aspects of the Batman legend and of the fictional stories related to Batman and the character itself were condensed into that animated series, and Kevin Conroy was so perfect touching upon all those different elements.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's a great, like, yes, Kevin Conroy is gone, but his legacy is, I think, is going to live on for a long time. And of course, he told that wonderful story where it was like, I think it was shortly after 9/11 where he started doing a lot of volunteer work, and he was in the kitchen doing a lot of cooking for the rescue workers, and they said it just, things got like so depressing one day. And then one of the firefighters, I think, came up in the food line, and they recognized Kevin Conroy. And it was like Kevin Conroy said, it was a very bad day. It was very, like, kind of a sad day. And it's like when the firefighter recognized him as Batman, it's like, hey, this is the guy who voices Batman. He said suddenly everybody in the room, despite their ages and everything they've gone through, Kevin Conroy said that their faces lit up like Santa Claus just entered the room.
Yeah.
And it's like, and then things just turned great, like, after the fact. Like, it really was a morale boost for everybody for the next couple of days. But I think that's like, and based on everything that's been said about Kevin Conroy, he really was a complete and total sweetheart. It's like, not only did we lose a massive,
and was very kind to fans,
Yes.
and very a part of the community.
Yeah,
I guess,
it's
the
like,
Batman
yeah,
fan base community.
like, I regret filming it in retrospect, but one of the best interactions I've ever had with a celebrity, so to speak, was with Kevin Michael Richardson, and because he was a sweetheart on and off camera when I filmed him, and that footage is still on my YouTube channel. But yeah, no, I just that wonderful moment of, like, getting to meet this guy for a little while outside of the convention without worries of having to pay $20, and he was very courteous. And I think Kevin Conroy was very much in that same regard.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I am honest, like, now it's starting to hit me. I think I am going to honestly miss him.
Yeah.
And it's like, I know, like, Diedrich Bader, who does the voice of Batman in a lot of the animated shows these days. He did the Batman for Batman Brave and the Bold, and he's now the Batman in the Harley Quinn animated series. He's doing a very good job with the character. But yeah, I don't think we'll ever really have a major Batman talent ever again. It's like,
especially with the longevity, I don't think anyone can withstand that or maintain that level of everyone's favorite for decades.
yeah, and it wasn't like we found, like, a decent replacement either. It's not like the Shaggy situation, Scooby-Doo, where Matthew Lillard played the character in live action and was so good at it that now he's the official voice of Shaggy in the Scooby-Doo franchise.
But Casey Kasem will always be Shaggy in my heart.
yeah.
That's just the old curmudgeon in me.
Yeah. So
but with Batman, you think, consider how many times it's kind of like they just look for someone to fit the codpiece. I mean, the new live action Batmans are being switched out off a conveyor belt like a mile a minute. But for the most part, when it comes to animation, like you said, Diedrich Baker or whoever would filter in now and then, but it was pretty much Kevin Conroy as the steadfast, old reliable.
Yeah. So, do you think this is one criticism I do have to bring up? Do you think Kevin Conroy kind of sounded? This is a criticism a lot of people bring up. He sounded a little tired towards the end, playing Batman over and over again. This has been going on for years.
Yeah, but I don't think you can knock that on him though, because
The
look at
Killing
how
Joke
long he was playing it. Yeah, okay, first off, yeah, the material comes into play, but also your voice is going to change, if you're doing something that long. Like, if you're not Mel Blanc, who pretty much kept up Bugs Bunny till the very end, your voice, doing a character voice for that long, it will change over time. And yeah, maybe as his voice sort of weakened with age, it got a little more flat. Or because if you listen to the original episodes of the show, the voice is more of a whisper type of, performance, where yeah, I know. That's one of my favorite moments, and I think it's Heart of Ice, is where he just walks in a room, and I want to isolate the clip. He just walks in out of the shadows and says, "I know." It's kind of like that MST3K bit where Joel just keeps saying, "I know, I know." It's very sultry and seductive.
Right.
But anyway, yeah, and then later in life, it sort of rested at a more base level performance.
Mhm.
But I don't think you can blame that too much on him. I think, like, yeah, it's just father time does that to you. Like I said, Mark Hamill's Joker it's still great, but it's completely changed from the original performance. As his voice has changed and aged. I will dare even say you doing the Dirty McCruption, your voice has sort of changed doing Dirty McCruption than if you listen to the original videos. He's kind of become a different sort of character.
Yeah,
So
it's funny you should mention. I'm just going to say this quickly. It's like a lot of actors who play supervillains. They say that there's always a hesitation to go big when you start with these characters. That's how I felt with Dirty McCruption originally, and now I can just go right into it like it's no big deal.
I know you just flip a switch.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
yeah, and in the early days you seemed a little more hesitant.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I would say that Kevin Conroy, if he were in the bed with the flu and bronchitis, would have been still a damn good Batman.
I am sick. I'm gonna take a rest.
I am tired.
Sleep, sleep, sleep. Yeah, but no. I think I am gonna miss him. And it's so funny because I haven't seen many of his other roles, and I hope maybe some of his stage appearances are still intact because I'd love to see him in musical off-Broadway stuff. I know he did a lot of those.
Yeah,
But
and appearances on television shows.
yeah, exactly. But no, Mr. Conroy, if you're hearing this from heaven somehow, in that big, beautiful, washed, not so dirty Gotham in the sky, know
Yes,
that you,
in your bat cave in the clouds.
yes, know that you are deeply appreciated and we loved you, man, and we really miss you. You
Yes.
you were the Mr. Rogers of superhero-dom. That's the best way I
Yeah.
can say it. So
And Goji Shea says something here, just like with Raf's Tim Raf impression. I'll give you this, Raf. You may do a better Joker than Tim Curry, unfortunately.
hey, Batman.
Batman, you're a stinky tuna sandwich.
Be you. It's like I think you said it best. It's
Yeah.
it's like Tim Curry like somehow retroactively heard my impression of him as Keelocon, and back
And
then
then said, "Fuck you! I'm gonna do Jack Hodgson." It's like, do that. Here's what you sound like.
Damn you, Tim Curry. So, but yeah, it's like we're gonna and to think, yeah, we lost Kevin Conroy in the same year that we lost David Warner, and I love David Warner. I grew up with him. Like he was
Is
one of
it
the.
strange that Kevin Conroy died on the same day as Gallagher?
I think there's
That's
a mystery there, my young ward.
the evil watermelon smasher.
It could be another plot of the Condiment King.
The Comedy King.
Yeah, no, the Condiment King. He's a
Well,
real
in this
character.
case, and then the Comedy King. I was playing on words, right?
Oh, the King of Comedy. Yes, he's the greatest supervillain.
Yes,
of
Robert De
all.
Niro was
Yeah.
involved in the deaths of both of these.
Okay, I'm gonna quickly go over these comments. Okay, Goji says I need to rewatch the story to name my absolute favorite, but the few of you guys mentioned that I really enjoyed are the two-parters where Harvey Dent became Two-Face and Clayface's first appearance.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, let's see what here. Yes, Doomzilla. Don't forget, Akira Takarada passed away this year, as well as Kazuki
As well as
Omori.
Angela Lansbury and Eileen Ryan and Sidney Poitier and everybody.
Yeah, we finally getting
Jerry Lee Lewis died last month, and
yeah, we're finally getting to that point where all these celebrities we grew up with are now leaving us, unfortunately.
yeah.
So, but
yeah.
it's like they've been around so long, they've been constant. Like Betty White, we thought she was going to last at least 2 more years. So
Louise Fletcher died too.
yeah, exactly. So, but it's
The project, but their memory will remain, and Kevin Conroy literally will remain because the cartoons are timeless. And yeah, kids generations down from now will probably be watching those because they'll always have him as a pillar for Batman.
and
I will say that the 66 show maybe has a roof, and like other than Old Souls, probably has a ceiling for kids getting the same amount of campy 60s entertainment out of it. But I do think Batman the Animated Series is a show that will transcend the decades. And regardless if he passed away 20 years from now, people will still be listening to him and have him as their Batman years after he's gone.
Yes, yeah, exactly. And even with the insanity that's happening with Warner Brothers Discovery and them constantly destroying shows left and right, I think this show is going to endure regardless
Yeah,
if David Zaslav decides to pull a Ra's al Ghul and blow up the whole thing.
completely. It's one of the greatest animated television shows of all time.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. So, and maybe even like a bigger influence on me than even the kaiju genre has in many regards.
Yeah.
So, all right, I want to quickly read these comments because everybody in the comments, you've been great listeners and we appreciate your presence. I'm sorry we have not been on top of your comments because, as you can tell, when me and Brayton go at it, we go at it, right, Brayton?
Hot and heavy.
Yeah.
I know.
Detective, take my cape off. No, Rez Al Ghul. So, Warrior King says, sorry I missed most of the show, but from what I did catch, you guys did a great job celebrating the life and legacy of Kevin Conroy in Batman animated series. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Warrior King. It's always good to see you guys in this comment. So, let's see here. Doomzilla says, I will forever miss you, Kevin Conroy. We will honor you in your memory and pass it along towards the future generations and beyond. Kevin Duyan, long time no see, good sir. He says, man, I remember fighting for the remote with my dad because the 6 o'clock news would be on. Kevin Conroy will be missed. My headcanon will always be that he is the inspiration for my name. So, why not? So earlier, you guys first went live. I said the Disco Plesiosaur sounded like a Silver Age Batman villain would have fought. Yeah, I guess so. Well, the Disco Plesiosaur is its own thing in the future. So
Would it just be a plesiosaur with an afro
yeah,
and like big Bootsy Collins sunglasses?
not the sunglasses, but he does have an afro. I've made design sketches, but it's an afro made of seaweed to be realistic.
Ew.
Okay, anyways, that sounds like a Paul Dini quote. It's like, it's stupid, but I made it realistic. Huzzah! I worked on Lost for 2 episodes. Okay, so
You should have a cameo on Lost.
I'm the polar bear, yeah! Watch me do my dance in my polar bear suit, yeah! Can't touch this, boom. But anyways, yeah, so let me,
Should we mention upcoming attractions though for the Inshomaverse? For instance, the live stream 2 days from now, and the
so I'm gonna change the title card. Oh no, that's out of the past. What is this going? What is this up here? No, go away out of the past. Hold on. Darn it, I screwed up. I always screw up something. Okay. Oh wait, here we go.
Okay.
Yeah, so this Sunday night, if you guys want to check out a film noir film with us on around 9 o'clock Central Brayton's time, that's roughly 7 o'clock my time in Pacific Standard Time. We're watching
And 6 o'clock on the moon where everything's upside down.
Damn you, moon men from Mars. Anyways, we'll be watching The Killers on my Twitch channel. And currently, yes, it's a part of the Midnight Movie. Damn it.
No, the movie graveyard shift. The 9 o'clock at Central Time graveyard shift.
Yes. the movie Graveyard Shift is this show where me and Brayton will share a movie. And then we'll discuss it after we watch it live on Twitch. So you actually get to watch the movie with us.
Yes, and it's Noirvember, and that being a very big inspiration on the universe of Batman, the animated series.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say there are striking visuals in The Killers, which seems right out of this show.
Yes, and I'm looking forward to seeing this movie because this is my first time seeing it.
Yeah, it has one of the greatest opening 15-minute set pieces ever. It's kind of like if Ernest Hemingway tried writing an Abbott and Costello bit and like murder was brought into it. You'll see what I mean. It's an incredible watch.
Yeah, and in the meantime, you can check out our current episode based on Out of the Past, which is on the archives with on Twitch for a couple of days now. But we do
and after we complete a first season, truncated episodes of our first season will be posted on this channel in a playlist.
Yes, exactly. So it's like, yeah, so we got that happening too. Also,
and I do want to mention the Quiet End thing because it is complete for the most part.
Yes, we have this really wonderful podcast we did with Patrick Galvin, which was originally supposed to be for Halloween, but Halloween got away from us, and plus I did enough Halloween stuff anyways. But towards the end of November, we will be uploading this wonderful. Is it like an hour and a half or a 2 hour?
It's it's just under an hour, just under 90 minutes.
90 minutes, yes, a 90-minute discussion based on the Japanese horror anthology Kwaidan. And
More fantasy into more fantasy folklore than horror.
yes,
But,
exactly.
Sort of fitting for Thanksgiving. Have a Thanksgiving feast with us and watch this wonderful movie. It's it's taken me a while because I'm trying to edit it to make us sound smarter than we are, and trying. This will be my last Simpson reference. One of my favorite episodes of The Simpsons is where he I think it's Homer Gone Bad or Homer Bad or something. Homer
Yes.
Bad Man, where he picks the piece of candy off the babysitter's butt, and there's this whole like Me Too style harassment, and he goes on TV to sort of clear his name, and they edit it up to where it sounds like, then I touched her sweet can. I couldn't resist her sweet can. So that's what I'm trying to do with our.
Oh man, you're gonna make me look as horrible as Paul Dini.
Yeah. Raf and Shoma, your silence will only incriminate you.
No, Raf and Shoma.
Raf and Shoma, no! Dramatization may not have happened.
Yeah, so, but yeah, no, look forward to our Qui-Gon conversation. Every Saturday morning around 11 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, I'm uploading episodes of Secrets and Mysteries, aka Secrets of the Unknown. It's an old paranormal show I used to watch as a kid back in the late 80s. But yeah, that's something that's happening every once a week. And of the 15 episodes I have, I think I've already uploaded 6, so we'll see how many more can happen. I think tomorrow's episode is going to be the Titanic episode of Secrets and Mysteries. Also,
the big mystery.
What's the big
secret? The big secret is it sunk.
Yes. Oh my God, I didn't know that.
Not a lot of people know that.
Yes, exactly. So I wonder where the sharks and the squids hid the bodies. They ate them.
Said the squid may know.
No. So sorry about the leather. So, anyways, and I also want to give a big shout out to my brother Gabe and his series Time Mule. Their episode for this month is entitled "Aw Man, Pretty Much Everyone Falls into the Door Somehow." And that's a reference to the Oingo Boingo movie, The Forbidden Zone. But this is a title card I made for the episode. I'm planning on making a bunch of video versions for their series in the near future. But yeah, it's available on Apple Podcasts. There's a link in the description. And it's a fantastic series. If you think the pony and dog show that me and Brayton does here is good, you should definitely check out Time Mule. It's great movie reviews and comedy bits. And it's a fantastic series. I highly recommend it to you guys. So, and with that says, I think we're pretty much caught up as far as
we're also cut up. We did some cutting up tonight.
Yes, indeed. So, I think we're pretty much caught up. So, any final words you want to say, Mr. Brayton?
I will just say again to repeat ourselves. Kevin Conroy, one of the best to ever do it, and Batman the Animated Series. If you haven't watched it in a long time, very worthy of a rewatch. I have several episodes that Raf has recommended to rewatch, and we'll be watching more in the future. This is definitely in its weird way has sort of spun me off and wanting to revisit this whole series.
Yeah, in a weird way.
And reappraise the guy.
We might actually end up doing another one of these maybe sometime next year. Just
a follow-up.
Yeah,
yes.
Follow-up.
On Kevin Conroy. When's Kevin Conroy's birthday?
Yeah, hey, not a bad idea. Revisit, and we'll talk. By then, we'll probably revisit every episode. We can talk about other things, and we will talk about the pros and cons of the WB reboot or the Gotham Knight era. So
yeah, Kevin Conroy's birthday is November 30th.
November. Oh my God! He passed away just before his birthday.
That is sad.
Okay, but yeah, no. I will say this, and like he was definitely a pro and kept a very strong face towards the end there, and that.
Yeah,
and the fact
I've seen cameos that he's been recording for people, and was always very bright and had a very cheery personality.
Yeah, and one of the last things he filmed was him just basically like talking about how wonderful the legacy of the series is and how much he appreciates all the fans and people who've come to love this series.
Yeah.
So, okay, so yeah, let me bring up the. I'm going to be playing some end credits music.
You're going to play the end credits from Batman the Animated Series?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So, but yeah, I'm going to mute us for a little bit. But Brayton, thank you so much. This was a great idea, and I think these last couple of night owlings, or just you and me talking for like an hour, 2 hours to 3 hours, have worked out incredibly well. So
I will say when we have a bit of a oh, I'm sorry, that's my phone ringing. That's the theme to Mannix, folks.
That sounds like the Penguin is about to enter and play his music. So.
No, but I will say when we have a topic that sort of steer us, good results do happen. And thank you very much, Raf. Now let me take this phone call.
Okay, yeah. Go ahead, and you go ahead and mute yourself while I prepare. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much. I'm going to mute ourselves for a little bit, and then I'll just play some closing out music. So.